in the South Bend. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moreover, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. To spoon. To spoon. You from Fonjama, Maryland, to spoon. To spoon. If you eat keep on grudging at my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. To spoon. Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? This one you got today.
School TV. School.
This one you got today.
School TV. School.
Okay, folks, time check here in Liberia, 3 minutes down, 8 p.m. Today is the 24th day of April 2023. This is our love to welcome you to another edition of your premier nighttime show here in Liberia, Spoon Talk. My name is Diamond Slanger. Let me now cross over to Dr. Richardson and James Goodeflomo. The rest of the panelists will definitely join us as the show progresses on. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Richardson.
Diamond, hello.
Hello, man. How you doing?
Okay. Good
Everything straight on your end?
Everything all right. Small. We're trying. Yeah, can't complain. Thank God for the blessings, But how everything Liberia?
Got money, got definitely money. Yeah, I make our back.
The woman upstairs or the woman upstairs got our back.
One way or the other.
One way or the other. You don't bought I get. You don't get I bought. Okay. Good day. How you doing? Wherever you are, how are you?
Is this the spoon talk that Liberian people wanted?
Tell what you mean now.
She pretended that she did not even read the best statement.
Echo, I can't start with politics on the show again, my people.
No, I only asking.
So
presumption there again, material presumption.
I just asking you because when you read our whole statement at any part, you know, the way Leo coming on. The people don't come and say,
I like your glasses.
Thank you.
Is that new or is that something that you just don't wear on the show?
No, it's not new. I don't use glasses. This is just for the blue light because I'm on the computer all of the time.
That's a smart move.
Yeah, so it's not really like I don't need glasses, but it's just for the blue light because I spend so much time.
Yeah, you see how technology is sweet sometimes. They put on these special glasses for computer people. You got some Liberia?
Of course, Dr. Richardson. We have the one for driving at night. So that the headlights from other cars wouldn't, come in at full beam in your face.
That is also correct.
Anywhere in the world we can order. Yeah.
That is also correct. I actually use it for driving at night as well.
Okay, Tama. I'm
Is
not
this
gonna
the best? Is this the
Tama,
best that
tama on your case.
come on, Tama. Tama, listen, I'm not even gonna go there. Just we gotta do some quick things here. Who they won't go into this
No, I
investment?
just asking if this is the best that
See her,
Scooter can do.
Alexander, come here, see her in the news because the last time you came here and accusing me that I don't talk about Alexander coming. So I accuse you as the media person to be able to present the news fairly and across the board because you guys don't bring that news up. Therefore, we as panelists don't bring it up. So did you hear anything? Or did you
I thought
research?
you asked me to speak. Let me speak first.
Mhm.
I'm okay. Time for update. We will speak whether we get update on comments or we don't have.
Okay. Donna, please go ahead. Please present our update to us because we have to move a little faster to that. We have a guest.
Yeah, so I'll just speak amongst the bunch that I have here. So
Mhm.
as we are aware, the special cabinet retreat is happening in Buchanan City, Grand Bassa County. Someone said Monrovia looks a bit depopulated. If you look around, you wouldn't see a lot of people. Everybody has trooped to Buchanan City. Similar we had in Nimba when the last retreat was held in Ganta City. We heard a lot about Nimba and Ganta being congested. But this afternoon, speaking to our executive mansion correspondent Trocon Flammer, he said, in a different turn of things, nobody except the president and the vice president were allowed to have their cell phones in the hall today. So in fact, if you are not a director or an ED or a commissioner or a minister proper, whether you assistant to the minister or you special aid to whoever, you were not allowed in the hall. It was kept strictly under that protocol, whether or not people don't trust people, that ministers or
We will
executive
speak
directors
at the
or
G's.
will leak what is being said in real time. So to put a gag on that, only the president and vice president were allowed to have their phones. So if we hear anything from inside there, we know who the two presidents had their phones, in real time in there. But again, it might sound a bit funny, but it's serious, that top ranking government officials, you have the minister of state, you have all these ministers, and they're not allowed to have their phones in. It's a security tight thing, it's a watertight thing, that raised a lot of questions. But asking people in that corridor, they said it's not something new, it happens, and we shouldn't take it to be something that is news that they don't trust the ministers as well. But that was the main thing that came out. In fact, the president didn't even give an opening. He just listened as the gavel was turned over to him. A welcoming remark was done by the superintendent of Grand Bassa County, and then they asked everybody else who wasn't a minister or who isn't a minister and a director or the head of any SOE to step out of that particular meeting. We've been told they're strategizing on a new plan to see the end of President Weah's 173 days in office, whether or not he will return, whether or not he will be re-elected. But from what we've gathered, this retreat is to, bring a lot of momentum to the few days left of whether it be President Weah's first term of 2 or whether it be his first term of 1. So that's that from Buchanan City as well. So something happened. I don't know if that was highlighted yesterday on Spoon Talk because I was out of coverage area yesterday. But a lady was shot right opposite the station. Did you guys talk about that yesterday? A lady was shot right opposite the station at the White House Junction on yesterday, at 2 p.m. broad day. She was being harassed for her phone. She fought back, and in the process of fighting back, the guy raised a pistol and shot her in her left arm. So this is serious. We have people being so brave to attack people in broad daylight and get away with it. Fortunately, she was shot in her left arm, and we've been trying to get information whether or not she's faring well. But that was what happened yesterday. So we have to be careful. We have to be our own security. The president said in your son, no security, anything is possible. So yeah, you have to be careful as well. The U.S. Ambassador McCarthy, released a stinging statement a few hours ago. And in short, if you want to put it in colloquial, like, you can take out a one room that you want to give you mansion. That was just to paraphrase in colloquial what he said. The minister just completed his tour of several counties, completing the entire tour of Liberia, and he highlighted the issue of health centers and county health, centers and hospitals lacking drugs, not getting their budgetary allotment, and talked about decentralized centers that are supposed to be service centers across the country that did not function. He even mentioned that one center, in 4 years, have not printed one marriage certificate because they do not even have a working printer 4 years running. And then he said, you want us to build the national laboratory for you that is going to cost $40 million. $40 million. If you cannot handle these hospitals and health centers that just need 100,000 that should be given to them in the budgetary allotment, how can you then raise 3 to 4 million or 5 million to handle the affairs of the national laboratory that we're about to build for you? So that statement, it has brought a lot of condemnation towards not just the government but to Liberians in the way of how we maintain things. That we have this problem of maintenance. If you look at most of our buildings and other facilities or even other assets that were donated to us, maintenance has been a serious problem as well. All right, so quickly to pass through, a 60-year-old man identified as Stephen Nimley has been arrested for allegedly raping a 13-year-old girl. This man has been arrested. He's currently at the police station in Nukru Town. According to the LMP, they're still taking and carrying out investigation.
That a reality, Dr. Richardson.
Yeah. So quickly, I have another story for you. In Nimba County, 5 persons, including a pregnant woman and a 2-year-old toddler, died in Nimba County in a car accident, a tragic car accident with 15 persons critically injured, according to our Nimba County contributor Christopher Fan. These people were on their way to register. It happened on the 22nd of April. They were on their way to register from Ganta to register in district number 5. Those that are currently seeking medical attention, they will get medical center. So others are pointing to the fact that it could have been trucking that went wrong, whatever it is or whatever it was. 5 persons lost their lives. If you see the pickup truck, you see that, okay, whether it's roadworthy or not. Just to wrap up quickly, we have a Liberian student that has been arrested in India, making the number 2 Liberian students that have been arrested in India in recent days for allegedly raping, women. So the first of the 2 was one Carlos Dan, an employee of the Ministry of Finance who is studying in India. He was arrested allegedly for raping, and another person again, Promise Wanzing Klekle, has also been arrested in India for allegedly raping a Zimbabwean national, a female, under the pretext of, helping her to cook and all that kind of stuff, according to the victim's story. So, those are updates. We have the smiling predator. Have you seen that guy? The guy who is allegedly, who has been arrested for allegedly duping, extorting, and sexually harassing over 20 Liberian women, including one Nigerian actress. I call him the smiling predator because he's always smiling, like, it means nothing to him. It means nothing to him. So according to the LNP, this man, will befriend women, entice them, and then when they meet up, he will allegedly drug them, and then having drugged them, he will record them and then use the video to extort money from them. So, Dr. Richardson, those are the updates that I have to share with this platform today.
Thank you, Diamond. I was in a better spirit and just hearing all of the aggression towards women sort of just put me on a downturn, even more than, hearing the ambassador's letter, which we will be talking about in detail. But anyway, let me go to Good Day, because I have a time schedule today. Can you just briefly tell us if there's anything you'd like to add on to Diamond's comment?
Well, basically, Diamond stopped to every point. I think he made a good presentation, and also you asked about comments. I'm yet to get any update from his camp because I did not see anything or I did not hear.
You reach out to anybody? Good Day, Mr. Cummings, Cam, Victoria, Totolo. Did you reach out to her? Did you reach out to Luscious Toe? Did you reach out to Martin Cooler, Louis Brown? Did you reach out to Mariah?
Yeah, I will only reach out if I need information.
Well, okay, that's not good journalism. You should be reaching out.
But journalists wanna go out for information. You can't just wait you start reaching out to people. You wanna go out to somebody who you want something from.
Who you want something from, so you don't want something from
That is if there's news that you reach out for it. Nothing
want
I need. I need no clarity from them. Nothing.
Okay, anyway,
Yeah.
moving right along. I just want you to know that Miss Victoria Toto Kokoi, Miss Victoria Tolo Kokoi, was presenting today. She was honored at one of our civic organization for
I never knew. There's no link that I can
I'm gonna
even.
send you some pictures so you can show, and I will send you the link so you can digest the information. But
Yeah,
that
so tell them when they do that, they reach out to us.
okay.
All right, so just to conclude, like what Damo just talked about, President Weah is in a very serious mess, or the entire government of Liberia, including the first branch of government, all of them, they are in a serious mess. I never knew about it though. I was busy doing assignment. I never knew that statement was up because I was now on Facebook. One of my friends had to call me and say, you not see what the US ambassador wrote? That was how I went online and I saw it and I was like, wow. So I think what the government needs to do now, they should not play be hard. This is not time for be hard. They just need to react and speak to some of those allegations, because if you read our communication, it says that in 5 years' time, specifically, let's go back to 2022, they are saying the money in the health sector did not receive anything. The health ministry should be, if we had a very serious legislature, though they are accused, they were going to invite, right after their break, they were going to invite the health minister to speak on some of those allegations.
The people accused were inviting other accused people.
Yeah. If we had any responsible legislature, I believe they were going to invite those
The
people.
people can't even do public hearing to even verify some of these things. So just do
No,
it.
they can have the quote unquote on the surface. They can have public hearing.
No, public hearing is not at the legislature. What a public hearing is when you go into a community when something happens.
Oh no.
And you set up a hearing for people to come out and give testimonies about what happened. That's what I call
The last time they did that in 2022, they did it in Grand Bassa with that Asada Mita issue. We went there, and they also did it in Nimba and in okay. And
I'm doing those kind of hearings where the actual victims themselves are stepping up to speak.
Okay,
yes, so that is it, and thank you so much. We hope our legislature will take both steps in addressing some of the things that were raised. Though some of those things that they talk about, let me give credit to Senator Dillon. When I was covering the legislature, he spoke on several of them that were mentioned in that press statement that they need to take steps. They need to address some of them, but one person can't do all. And yeah, we hope it was.
No report. They say they report an American thing and a Liberian thing, so no report. So
thank you, good day. Thank you, Diamond. You guys always present the Liberian people with excellent information that they need to know. This is why they come here. I want to welcome all of you right now to Spoon Talk. If you just joined us or you started watching us from the beginning of the show, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Share the show. This is the moment for you to share the show because we're going to have a bombastic female coming in here to speak with us at 4:30. But before she comes in, I'm going to give Mr. Johnson and Mr. Al Hussein Fadiga, I want to welcome you to the show too. They're both going to just give us maybe about 2 minutes thoughts on their reflection that they had for the day. Let me go ahead and ask you guys, Mr. Johnson, would you like to come in?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Richardson, and greetings to all of our viewers, listeners in Radio Land, on the internet, social media, YouTube, wherever you're watching us from and listening from. We say welcome. It's interesting, Dr. Richardson, I haven't heard anybody condemning the American ambassador to say, you think that America, yeah, I think what you're talking about, only America, it can't happen in Liberia. Because basically what we've been saying is exactly what the American ambassador has outlined, word for word, verbatim. But I'm yet to hear one Liberian come on and say, I didn't mean talking about Liberia, so just like America, that in America, that thing can happen. It can't happen here. everybody is silent.
Hey,
And then
money,
when fellow Liberians try to raise the bar on it, they say, "Oh no, there ain't no the thing that Liberia, like you had the thing being in Liberia." Because what the U.S. ambassador is raising, I'm looking at it, Dr. Richardson. We actually referenced some of these the last time.
They say for 1847.
Yeah, when we talk about reporting, why reports are so important and filing in reports. People say we're acting like we're educated, we're the only educated people. So right now, I would like to see the condemnation for the U.S. ambassador for going across the country and raising this issue, for him pretending like we are in America when we are in Liberia. You see, and this is where for me, Dr. Richardson, the hypocrisy is. The U.S. ambassador is pretty aware that he's working in Liberia. I'm pretty sure he doesn't think he's working in America, and he's raising the standard this way. My other question to the U.S. ambassador will be, he mentioned the number of money that is paid by U.S. taxpayers every year to the Liberian government, over $60 million. My question is, how come the American ambassador has been publishing all these reports and they're still giving their taxpayers money of over $60 million every year? At some point, I would have seen the anger coming from the U.S. government saying, you know what, this stuff is too much. So we can't be giving you our taxpayer money to be stealing it. So we will withhold U.S. taxpayers' funds to the Liberian government until it can be fixed. I think at some point the U.S. ambassador also, the Liberian people deserve some type of explanation from the U.S. ambassador, because the revenue, the source of the revenue is feeding the corruption. So if you are part of the source of the revenue, you're able to cut it, why you're not cutting it, but at the same time, and laying all these very disturbing findings that he has come up with from 2022 budget up till now. And this is something he's done very consistently. So I would like to see Liberians' reaction to this, since when Liberians say it, we say you're not connected, you're disconnected from the people, you don't seem to be connected with
Liberian politics.
You don't know the Liberian politics. This is a U.S. ambassador that has been assigned Liberia now for how many years? 4 years or so, or 3 years or so. This is his findings here, and not.
Thank you, Leo Johnson. A point well taken. I'm going to go on to actually welcome Stanton to the show before I transition to Father God. Could you please give her your 2 minutes, and then I will turn to Stanton to give us his 2 minutes.
Well, my intention was, we can hear you, Dad. My intention was drawn to several things, but one of those things was the ambassador. I won't say revelation, because there's nothing secret to a lot of us. But there were a few things that I found puzzling, and Leo said one thing that I don't understand. These American people need to spare us the offensive speeches. This ambassador did one thing that most ambassadors have not done. He said you're going to be one of the only ambassadors that will visit all the countries, not just the ambassador for Monrovia. So he did go, around the country, and what we saw in that something confirmed exactly what we have been saying, and it shows that this government is one of the most corrupt institutions I've ever seen in my lifetime. What the guys are doing, they are raising revenue. It's not that the government is not raising revenue. This government is doing well when it comes to revenue generation, and even the Saliva administration. But what are they doing with the money? What are they doing when? And that's the puzzling part. This is where the people need to get angry. The people need to really understand, because with the amount of money that these guys are raising, it's like they are just grabbing, putting it in bag, putting it in double bag, or burying it somewhere, because they are certainly not using. And the worst thing that I got from this report was the fact that every appropriation in the budget for those different things, so they put it in the budget, they're not sending the money, they just add it in the budget, and the money are not going to those people. Another thing, can you imagine something like Ellen did, like part of the decentralization, something for birth certificate? A machine for birth to print a birth certificate has been down for almost 5 years. People just go to the office. Can you imagine that? I'm like, this is worse. How can you put money in the budget? And then the last place that I will leave with are the legislature. These guys appropriated 65 million free money. Not even something. That was our budget before Ellie. Our national budget, 65 million. That the one, I think 100, I don't know how many, 30 and something, I don't know how many are there.
103.
103 men. eating $65 million every year.
Men and women. No.
Men and women, I mean, I just generalize.
Yeah, menace.
But men and women eating, no, the men are eating the most than the women. That's why I even call it this because they are minute pocho. They're eating that money. Look, something has to be done about legislature but salary. Until we can reduce that thing down to $3,000-4,000 to be on par with ordinary citizens, we're not going nowhere. That's another thing that I saw that was shocking.
Thank you,
So
Fadi.
this guy just appropriate the millions of dollars.
But my man Fadiga, that the reality about why I want to bring American style here.
It's not American style. Even in America is
I can tell you,
there's
talk about
several legislators in this country that are very corrupt. It's not unique to Liberia. The legislature here are corrupt.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying that the reality in Liberia. And I want to say
this the best
that
Liberia can do. I want to bring in Stanton Witherspoon. Is this the best Liberia can do? So Stanton, you want to give us your take on our guest coming in? Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm saying that. I'm hearing the angle from.
We can't hear you. Something going on your
all right. Hold on 1 minute.
You have to disconnect it.
I think you have to disconnect your earpiece. It's coming through the earpiece.
Gotta go back to your where were you usually come from. Okay, as we wait for Stanton to get set up, you know, the ambassador at James wanted to get me all entangled in the question: is this the best ambassador?
Can you hear me now?
Much better. Go ahead.
I have this desktop that James and myself trying to get me on from the office, but James, you didn't do good. I'm going back to my root. You didn't do good.
The system feel you.
The system feel me. Yeah, you're right.
Typical LRB talk. The system feel you.
I'm hearing from.
You know, that was another thing that the guy said. He said every time they ask the government say the war in Russia.
Fadika,
slow down. I see you already. Now you said a reality. Let's stand on go. You said a reality.
Slow down. You see, let me say something though. And that's the reason why I'm here for only maybe 27 seconds. And I will be all of here by 5:30. 27 seconds only. Let me say this to everyone listening to us. It is very interesting. Share the program, invite your friends. Let's talk Liberia. I like the passion and the angle that Al Hussein and Leo demonstrating tonight. But folks, and that's why we have election around the corner. Make no mistake. I read this. I read it. Every paragraph and with a question. The last page or so, every paragraph and with a question. Those that have the goal make the rules.
Yep.
Anyone interested in the pro-poor agenda? Is this the best Liberia can do? That's the ambassador, though. That's the United States ambassador to Liberia. James, you can put it down. I know we know we're having MacDella coming on, but that's the richest thing.
Why are much better senators not paying a 25% tax?
Yeah.
We would dive into all those questions,
exactly.
But folks need to understand that you can join us on Fabric, and you can join us on Super, on Spoon FM, Spoon TV. We'll be coming up with other network and other radio station that stay asking us to relay our program. You have 3 of them. I said, come on, we already have 3 radio stations that are, Titi Cannon, the CEO doing extremely well. They said, we want to carry you guys free. I said, okay. So today, Titi met like 3 of them, 3 radio stations. And again, they will be carrying us free. And, that's the partnership she's doing for them. And they're doing for the network because they enjoy the program. But for the guy, today is the 24th of April. Eugene Fagon is traveling. He's going back to Tennessee. He cannot be on. You have Salamatu is off today. Remy, maybe he's going to join us. What's going on with our country called Liberia?
Our culture.
I asked James to share this on our page, and folks need to read it themselves.
It's an easy read, though. I like how the thing
It's
is
easy, my man. So much, you know.
Well, I mean, Fadiga, you're not letting me report business. You see the ambassador who he put it on paper for us to read it. Your whole legislature can call people. Now, one sheet of paper we can find.
5 years.
But guys, I know we get him MacDella and somebody else coming on. We will be bringing them on shortly. Dr. Richardson is sending me a signal. 103 lawmakers.
Yeah.
Enjoying how many millions of dollars?
65 million.
$65 million of the budget.
And they're going to get
Every
mad
year.
now. And they're going to get mad, right? They're going to get mad. 103 lawmakers enjoying 65 million. Then you want us to believe that you need to be re-elected?
Or that you're not part of the corruption that's going on.
You want us to believe that it's okay. And guess what the ambassador said? He pointed out two important counties when he started his trip: Bomi and Bapolu.
And Bapolu, yeah.
Why he called Bomi and Bapolu? Why? Can somebody tell us on the show today why the ambassador called Bomi and Bapolu? What's happening in Bomi and Bapolu recently?
Western cluster.
The Western cluster dynamics.
So the ambassador didn't mean River G. And put our good friend Snow down. We'll put him up later.
And Bapolu, he went to the hospital, the new Emeritus Hospital.
We're gonna dive into this report. So tell your folks to come and join us. What's happening? What's happening that this ambassador called Bomi and Bapolu? When we were on the show talking about the people money, the $14.5 million that the government said you gave back to the Indian people, that Edwin Snow said it was okay for the people to take the money back. Put Edwin Snow picture up small before I finish up my intro. Put Edwin Snow picture up small. Edwin Snow, our good friend, you know that's my friend. He said, get the people money back. He told them, he said, you'll get them the money back. Can you imagine? What would $14.5 million do for the people of the Western cluster? I rest my case, and you can start your show. I'm just a spectator. I put my 2 hands in my pocket, and I will lay back because it will be enjoyable tonight. Because it is important for Liberians to understand the reason why they are suffering, the reason why they are not better today than 5 or 6 years ago. The reason why the children will continue to sell candy between cars and sugar bread for $1 for them to survive. And the mom will sell cassava, roasted cassava, and the dad will go hustle and come back with nothing. The reason why the ambassador is saying they have neglected the very poor people. The reason why he decided to write this thing and say, if I will go before the United States Congress, as for me, should the U.S. Congress ask how the elite, who are the elite? The senators, we can name them.
Yeah, the political
representative, we can name them. The elites, the ministers, the ministers, we can name them. The director, we can name them. The ambassador said, as for me, it's like Jesus Christ and somebody in the Bible saying, as for me and my house, Joshua said we will serve the Lord. The ambassador saying, as for me, if I present myself to the U.S. Congress, and the U.S. Congress asks me how the elite in Monrovia are treating destitute citizens. Amen. He even called our people destitute. They are destitute. Yeah. Let somebody going to find the definition and put it up. Why they say, but what do you mean by destitute, Stanton? We'll leave that one way. The Polo Johnson and I bet in the library and I have seen they will tell you. But on a very serious note, as I am, because I see MacDella in the back, and I seen that Keman, I think the last name is not showing right. They are in the back, they're getting ready. But this is it. He said, my honest response, Jose, this is why you come in Fadika. He said, my honest response will have to be, those citizens are treated with a neglect. George Manawia, Samuel Twe, that stay in Ivory Coast and refuse to come for the summit. They have choose this Samuel Twe. He said those citizens are treated with neglect. They have abandoned them. They are refugees and spectators in their own country. And he said this, he said that those citizens are treated with a neglect that borders on contempt. Is this the best Liberia can do? Hey, Joe, we are. Hey, man, hey, George, man, we are. Is this the best you can give Liberia for 6 years? Hey, man, our children standing between cars, 4, 5, 6 years old. Is this the best you can do? Our young men and women, they are taking drugs because there's nothing to do. Is this the best you can do? Is this the way you have come to transform our country? When you have somebody like MacDella Cooper traveling from country to country, negotiating, bringing investors in the country, but they cannot come. Because someone told us, give me 25% before you can build the lights on the web. They cannot come because John Manor, we are saying, who will take care of the money? Is this the best? But you know what? I will stay back today. I ain't talking. Dr. Richardson, take your show.
So thank you, Stanton, for coming on today. Our guests are in the back. We have Madam MacDella Cooper and Dr. Kema Thoron. I can't see her full name.
Yeah, the full name is not there.
Yes, but that's okay. When she comes on, it's probably going to pop up. But we want you to stay tuned. We'll be discussing this letter from the ambassador in details, as our guest is going to be here with us for at least an hour. So, can you please bring our guests on so we can get started? I'm sure they're going to have any pressure on. Hi, Dr. Thoraka. Please help me pronounce your name. We're happy to hear you here. Have you here?
She's muted.
You're muted, Dr. Thoronka.
I muted myself. I didn't want to. How are you guys? I'm Kema Thoronka.
Yes, it is a pleasure meeting you, Dr. Thoronka. I'm waiting for Madam MacDella Cooper to come in, and then we'll just give you guys a few minutes to just tell us your vision and plan for Liberia, because we're speaking all Liberia here. I'm also sure that you have seen the ambassador's letter, and you will be glad to probably tell us your views on the letter, and we'll be asking you questions as well. Can you please bring Dr. Madam Cooper in? Can someone bring her?
Yes, let me bring her in right now. I can see her to the back. That's my own former classmate, schoolmate from Jimmy Judicon, Madam MacDella Cooper. The internet is giving her a little bit of problem because she's keep from coming in and out.
Yeah. So
we will wait. We hope she can get a better adjustment. But we want to start with the Dr. Kema. Well, come on. We say Kema.
It's Kema. Yeah, it's Kema. It's Kema.
That's a Kema to
It's the American.
It's Dr. Kema Thoronka Esquire.
Yes. We appreciate you being on the Spoon Talk tonight.
Absolutely.
We say welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Welcome very much. And sorry that you came on the day that we have to just go hard because of the United States ambassador to accredited to Liberia. His statement that he put out today about our country worst situation. But talk to us, give us your intro while we wait for our own sister, Madam Cooper, to join us.
We have to pray for her to have spoken first.
That's right. Because you follow
the time, and because she's not available, we'll give you the opportunity to proceed.
You follow the leader, and that's exactly what I was thinking. But for technical difficulties, I don't want to preempt anything that she would say but I do want to say personally, I am extremely in support of Madam Cooper. Let me start off with that. I am in the diaspora. I've been in the diaspora for over 30 some odd years. My very first trip back home after 36 years was last year. I came when I was 12 years old, right before the war broke out. So we have a very vast number of people that are in the diaspora and looking to see the transformation of our country. So when I went home after the first time, after 36 years, first and foremost, I was culture shocked again, because I felt like a foreigner in my own country, which of course is very natural to have felt that. But the thing is, when I spoke with Madam Cooper, I said, after being blessed, after leaving our country, the very deep regards and hope is to go back home, even if you're not to live, but to begin to work, produce, and give back what you have learned outside of the country. But it was very difficult to grasp what is happening in the country. Where can I put the energy, the work that I have done outside of the country? And the fact that there is nothing set up or nothing for the people in the diaspora to be able to go back home and be sustainable in order to work and give back was quite troubling. So when I spoke to Madam Cooper, I said, look, going back home, what do? I want to do something. And when she expressed her interest in running for president, I was impressed, not just impressed as an individual, but the vision that she has to be able to bring back education, to be able to bring back, especially focus back on the young people who are completely, the generation now that you're dealing with is the generation of war. Most of those survivors are either very old, or they are either out of the country. Now you have the generation of war, those people who were born into the war and then after the war, where the setup of the government, the setup of the country, there is no apparent hope. In my tour in Liberia, I started to ask some of the young children, because I went to some of Madam Cooper's facilities, her schools, and some of the young people. I said, what do you want to do when you grow up? What country do you want to visit after? Those very basic questions. And no one has ever asked these children those kinds of questions, because they didn't even know how to respond to what do you want to be when you grow up. What countries besides, some of them were listing Lofa County as a country. And it wasn't even to them. It was parents are not talking to their kids about what do you want to be when you grow up, because there is no what do you want to be in our country. So
I'm sorry, Doctor, to interrupt you. I understand we are waiting for Madam Cooper, who will be joining us. Can you give us a little history? I know you went into that about yourself.
Okay. I left Liberia when I was 12. I am, can't tell my age now, but I'm about to hit a century this year. I'm about to be 50 this year. So I've been out of the country for a long time. I am an attorney by trade. I have about 3 law offices in 3 different locations, Virginia, Maryland, and then Texas, just recently, focus and concentration on immigration law. My expertise is deportation, people who are facing deportation. And we do a lot of consular processing. So we are very much have a close ties to a lot of the consulates around the world. I litigate cases. Litigation is mainly my specialty. In terms of background, I have focused a lot of my work on domestic violence against women, and a lot of cases that I also file for non-citizens are based on the abuse that the non-citizens suffer at the hands of U.S. residents or permanent residency or citizen. And I'm an ordained minister, just recently got ordained in 2019. The Lord called me into ministry. So I took a brief step back from practice, but I'm back because I have to run my office. And I've done a lot of work in terms of giving to people, but it's mainly on the background level. I'm a United Methodist. And my father's a United Methodist. I am very strong with the United Methodist Conference back in Liberia. So those guys are very, the prior bishop was my uncle. It's my godfather rather. So I just have the heart to want to help, and that's why I got connected and very impressed with Madam Cooper, because she was already in line and working, doing a lot of work with
There
the
she
youth.
is.
There she is. So
Can
we're
you go
done with
to
the
the
fluff.
question?
Let's go hard.
Thank you. Thank
There
you.
she is.
Again, well, Madam Cooper, can you hear
Wow.
us?
Oh,
Internet. Oh my God.
Madam Cooper, can you hear us? All right.
I can hear you, but the connection is pretty poor tonight. It's very poor. I'm trying 3 different phones and they're all having the same problem.
Wow.
okay.
We can hear you now a little bit, where
She
your
went
picture
off.
just went off.
She
Yeah.
went off. But so we're gonna manage with. We hope that she can come on.
She will.
Yeah, we pray. Leo, Al-Hussein. Let's start with you, Leo. Dr. Richardson said I should hold on to moderate a little bit before I leave the office. You heard what Dr. Turncon have said. You want to start with your question or comment, and we'll go to Al-Hussein.
Yeah, first of all, yeah, thank you. So first of all, thank you for coming back to Liberia, Dr. Toronka. As we all say, Liberians who have come to the diaspora and managed to figure out a way going back to Liberia to assert in their own contribution, and how we can make things happen is always laudable. I guess my question to you is, this is not Madam Cooper first time running. If I'm correct, it might be her third time or so participating, or second as a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
This would be her second elections. My question to you is, do you know what Madam Cooper's agenda is, plan is, and where can we find it? Because it will be interesting to see if, unfortunately, she's not here. So I'm just throwing a question to you. Hopefully she can come on.
Yeah.
That has driven you so much, or what has driven you so much to believe in Madam Cooper's ability to be president for Liberia? Is there a plan or something that you can share with us?
Well, hopefully I saw the thing spinning. But in terms of her planning, speaking with her, I don't know, there she is. Maybe she can take this one. You know that time is.
No, we want you to take
Well,
it because we're not. She's going to come in, but because you pitching something. I mean, you spoke to her. There's something that drove you to believe in her dreams and vision, and say, you know what? Let me come talk about Madam Cooper. So we want to hear from you.
Yeah. I totally agree. Let me say this. The first and foremost, a leader, especially a leader in the head of state, you got to be a constitutionalist. Everything that drives the policy of a country is the Constitution, plus, the integrity and all that stuff as a leader. When I speak with her, because she believes in the laws and the Constitution of our country, because she honors every word that is in our Constitution, whether it's right or wrong, she honors it. Someone of such a nature will be able to carry out everything, every mandate that the law says for the country. We have an administration now that deviates in some way or fashion from the Constitution or what the laws are saying, some parts of the Constitution. Madam Cooper, the very first and primary thing that I appreciate about her is she's thinking about how do we educate our young people. Because after the war, we had a completely fractured or broken educational system. And we have kids that are on the street, they're selling, kids that have to step in the primary breadwinner role for their families. So she's saying, look, if you educate a nation, at the very least, you have conquered almost 60% of that nation's problem. And because you have that thought, is the first thing I'm going to tackle is strengthening our education system to give these children or these young people the hope of answering the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? In order to have that question answered, you're going to have an educational system that provides education not just for the elite, but for people who are born in Liberia. That's the number one thing that drew me to her. The second thing is a people that have no hope or think less of themselves will accept anything that is given to them. I believe very strongly that anybody who do not have high expectation of themselves will accept anything that is given to them. The Constitution in any country, any given country with democracy, gives the people the power. It gives you the power because you vote people in to work for you. In our country, if you take a vote, most people do not feel, and it's just me talking to people while I was there. There's a disconnect between the government and the people. They don't feel that they have the power. And because the Constitution gives you the power, you should have your voice should matter in the country. And the very first thing that was impressed, I had a women's conference in Virginia last year, and she had a role to speak, and she was able to exegese the Constitution, connecting it to the will of the people and the power of the people. And everybody there was so incredibly impressed, because here's a person who is going to put put the Constitution above self.
Yes,
that is the second thing that impressed me with her. And
thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Torka. You made a very important point, especially around education, Liberia being a country, especially given where we are. I guess my point is what I would drive to a little bit more. So education, for example, is at the micro level. When you're running for president, you're at the micro level, which means you're going to tackle all of the multiple issues that the country faces at the same time. And that's what I was asking, and it's good we got Madam Cooper on as well. Is there a plan somewhere that we can see that micro level, that intersecting micro level that tells us the intersecting factors of the education, the military, security, rule of law? And many Liberians will argue that the Constitution itself is our problem, that the Constitution in itself is corrupt in and of itself and has never been changed. Do you believe just relying on our Constitution might be the best way to go? Or is there something more that we can look forward to? And this is based on your understanding of course, dealing with the campaign itself.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us now?
She's muted. She says she can't hear.
Go out and come back in.
Try to go out and come back in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but
guys.
something's happening with Madam Cooper.
Yeah, I've been communicating with her assistant to have her come in by way of phone. So I'm trying to.
Yeah, I wish she were closer to the station. It was going to be better.
Yeah.
She's in Liberia, right?
Yeah, it appears that way.
If she were closer to the station, Yeka was going to help her, But guys, I see her. She's in the back. Let's try again.
Okay.
Madam Cooper is in the back. Yeah, it's just not.
Madam Cooper, can you hear us?
It looks like it's just as I'm about to say, it looks like it's better now.
Madam Cooper, can you hear
All right, so this is what we're going to do. Once she gave us a signal that she's okay, we'll bring her on, even by way of the phone probably. But Fadika, you listen to Dr. Taranka, but let's try to bring in the ambassador statement while we get Madam Cooper and the doctor all ready to come in together, because Madam Cooper had a big announcement. She was about to just hit the road running on Spoon Talk, but the internet is very, very bad. Hussein, before Doctor come back to answer Leo's last question, man, what are we looking at from this Ambassador Wahada?
Well, there's so many things. The thing is, there's no revelation there. We all know it's no secret what is going on. But there are key things that are actually the ambassador touched on that I'm sure most people didn't know. The ambassador said that we will held 25% of the salaries of Liberian employee at the residence, that means those that work at the embassy, to pay their legal mandated income tax to the LRA. While are the much better paid representative and senator not paying full 25% of their salary as well? We gave these people gas slip, duty free free to come in on top of the 50 or whatever thousand that amount to that $64 million. And the American government gave for additional $25 million towards education with everything. and nothing gets done. They allocate money in the budget that do not go to anything. How can you put appropriate money? 100,000. It's not even much. 100,000. You know, that's the it's plain evil. I can't even find adjective to describe it. Evil. And these are people that sort of be native. These are people that sort of be indigenous. These are people that are supposed to be pro-poor. Well, they are pro-poor. They are for making people poor. They are for keeping them poor. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, because if Liberian people are now all rich, the problem here is there is no consequence for all these things. This is why October 10 it matters. That is why the decision we're making October 10 will be our reality for the next 6 years. So we have to do it, make sure we make that decision wisely.
Yeah. So I want to chime in a little bit
I want you to comment, Dr. Richardson, but let me ask you something, though. Maybe Dr. can join us with the conversation tonight while we wait for, if you can, Dr. Turenkar, because you are from Liberia. Let me make this juicy a little bit. If you can, if you choose to leave, that's fine. But we ask that you be part of the set while we wait for Madam Cooper to come in and discuss her ideas. The first paragraph, Dr. Richardson, the first paragraph, it may say I visited bombing in Bapado. That is to say, I visited 15 counties.
Yeah.
And now, here's my report. We all understand that this guy is leaving, right?
Right.
He's leaving. And he said, yes, my report. Dr. Chinwe Richardson, can you just look at the first paragraph and make sense of it for our fellow Liberians out there? What's actually the ambassador is so angry about? Something is burning within him.
So, first of all, let me just tell our audience that because I was running late and had some other things to do, I did ask Stanton Witherspoon to take on the moderating responsibility, because I see some people are typing already. So to respond to your question, Stanton, he is trying to tell us that Monrovia is not Liberia. So many times when our legislators come here and the people who are vying to be presidential candidates, their focus is just on Monrovia. And so that was the first thing that he wanted us to know. The second thing that he wanted us to know is that we have this Western cluster deal that is supposed to enrich those counties, like the Bomi County and the Bobolu County. There shouldn't be depending on the U.S. subsidies to make those counties. He is telling us we have the natural resources already, but because of our legislators that we elected, the establishment, I like to now start calling them, or the cartel, a little bit different from what Eugene Falcon would call the cartel, they are making deals with these private institutions like the mining company to waive money that is supposed to go to the Liberian people. And I think this is what he wanted to tell us. Edwin Snow was part of the people who've been negotiating this deal for the Western cluster deal for the people in Bobolu and Bomi. And look what we see. We have riches in our country. That's what this ambassador is trying to tell us. But we are using it very poorly, okay? When you have a group of people, 103 persons in the legislature who are not working according to the Constitution, like Dr. Taraka was saying, they are working according to their greed, their self, and they want us then the Liberian people to re-elect them into offices on October 10th. This is not going to work. And I hope that Liberian people will take a serious study of this report and begin to think, okay, what the establishment is trying to do and what they have done to our Liberian people, for him to even use the word destitute, like you said, destitute. You know, I mean, I was so shocked. And you asked me the first paragraph. I was shocked when I even read that people in the southeastern region don't even have a printer for 5 years. I was shocked when I even read.
And that's why Dr. Richardson, that's why we're going to go through this paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah,
and we got a legal mind over here.
Yeah.
Somewhat, and I'm so happy that she's from Liberia. She will help us to understand this thing better, we are not talking about immigration. We are going to talk about Liberia. It's something that the ambassador is saying. Before I get back to the data, to Rancor, I want to bring you in, Leo. And after you, we'll tap into Dr. Duranga. This is our friend and brother, Edwin Snow, from Bombing. One of the two, you know, he's a senator from Bombing. This is him. Folks, take a look at Edwin Snow. The ambassador said in the past 3 weeks, I visited Bombing, Bopolu. Bombing and Bopolu. What's the problem right there, Leo? Bombing and Bopolu. These people have what they call the Western Cluster with Kipman. Edwin Snow, Samuel Twe, as you will see, right? The president, the rest of them decided to give back to the company Western Cluster $14.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Leo, I want you to start thinking on this. As you look at our dear friend and brother Edwin Snow, you know, we saw that he went to Joseph Boyka to beg Joseph Boyka for forgiveness. We'll discuss that later. He dropped on the floor, hold Joseph Boyka's legs, and beg him for forgiveness. But Edwin Snow, look at the people of Bombing and said to them, we will take your 14.5 million and give it back. Let's start with that. Leo, you are a native man like myself. We're from the poorest of the poor. People can say what they want to say. God bless us. We give God the glory. But look at Edwin Snow giving back of the people money. And the ambassador saying the Liberian people are what he called it destitute. Make sense of this before we go to that Torrent car and bring in Al-Hussein.
The first outrageous move for me with this whole Bombing and Bapolu situation was for a senator to be telling you that there was a concession agreement in place, a bill being put through the legislature that they had on their decks to finalize with the Western Cluster deal. And they left it, bypass it, did a memorandum of understanding to override what should have guaranteed the rights of the citizens of Bombing and Bapolu, because once that bill is passed, it is law. And Western Cluster will be held responsible. An MOU is not law. It's a gentleman agreement that you can rip apart anytime. Was even shocking to actually know that. And today, the ambassador made specific reference to that, because how can you have a multi-million-dollar company operating in Bombing and Kipma or in Bapolu County as well, and taking out some of the most precious metals, most precious minerals that the country has, and yet we are arguing over little things that face in a row? Why should we even be arguing over facing a road? Before one iron ore is even mined in that place, the road should have been paved before Western Cluster put their trucks on it. Nobody talks about that. And what is even more painful is to see now legislators trying to now defend themselves in the face of the outcry of ordinary citizens, rather than coming to the people and saying, we've made a mistake. We've blundered. Help us here. Let's course correct. No, they come not just defend themselves, but boast in the face of ordinary people and let them know that there is nothing you can do. I remember when Senator Snow was like, you know what? Said that the reason I will walk off, I wash my hand off the Western Cluster business, I turn it over to you. Why will you wash your hand when you already signed an MOU? Why will you wash your hand when you facilitated that MOU?
But you remember when they were turning Jesus Christ over, they had the king said, I washed my hand, but he was pretending. But let me go to the data before I get to Al-Hussein. I can see that Madam Cooper is ready trying to come on. Once she gave her the signal, we'll bring her on. So Dr. Taranka, let me ask you directly, this is what you do for a living. A destitute nation, a destitute person. The ambassador didn't say poor, but he used the word destitute. Help our fellow Liberian understand why his choice of war was so extreme, because we understand it's extreme poverty. So, but help us make sense of this for us, because somewhere we are going with the ambassador's statement today that our country is in the worst shape ever. Can you chime on it? If you have not seen the statement, we'll send it over to you. Can you help us?
I think she sent it to me like right before I was trying to skim through it. But when I hear the word destitute, it goes to a systemic process of trying to really sort of gut people out of their right everything that is due unto them, to the point where every facet of their lives are not functioning the way it's supposed to function. Now, it's just an explanation in my head, because poor, okay, you can have a poor neighborhood, there are people there, income may be coming in and out, but destitute means there is absolutely no hope, and there is absolutely no way out in that situation. So it goes back again to what I'm saying, because our Liberian people are accepting the mediocrity of what their leaders are doing, and they can do whatever they want to do, bypass. As Leo was trying to say, you have an agreement table, you bypass it and create memorandums outside of the deal and all those kinds of things, because they feel if whatever we get for our people, we can give them whatever it is, and they're going to be happy with whatever they can get, because for the last 20 years, they're not used to getting anything anyway. So if the Liberian people put these people to hold them to their foot, they wouldn't be doing this. But some of them were not. The constituents have to know. The constituents have to. Don't throw a few bags of rice to me every time elections are and think that I'm doing something. No, know that there are resources allocated for you.
But yes, Dr. Turenko, sorry to interrupt you. Extreme poverty, when you talk about destitute, the way in which you cannot have cassava to eat, then you're right. Poor people can hang around, okay, but a destitute person, forget it. And our country have left from the line of being poor to being, refugees in their own home. Even refugees can survive because UN are there to help them. You know what I'm saying? But our country that depend on our own people. Let me bring in Al-Hussein. Al-Hussein, help us understand. President George Manasseh said, you will not be spectators in your own home. He said that. Okay, I want you to take a look, Al-Hussein. Forgive me if I do this. It is important, and you can speak on this. I think that Richardson trying to bring in MacDella. Al-Hussein, this is the president. He said you cannot be spectator in your own home. Under no condition you will. But for 6 years, for 6 good years, you can add it and minus. It's up to you. As we march towards election, the ambassador is saying Liberia is in a serious extreme poverty. And it makes sense out of this, man. Al-Hassan, talk to us.
The thing is, Liberians, he said, won't be spectators, but they're not even on the field. And for me, the problem with this president, I think the president have gotten away with so much that he's having this God complex. That's the only way I can describe it. I think the president is now starting to have God complex. He keep pushing the limit, testing the patience of the Liberian people, because honestly, I have never seen this level of indiscipline and corruption in my lifetime. Look, if you look at that Western cluster that the ambassador stressed on, look, $23 million that were accumulated in 12 years. These people should be paying this money plus additional funds and penalty. And mind you, this is a $1 billion institution. $1 billion institution. The government not going through the legislature, just the government itself, unilaterally waive this money. You know what's going to happen? That money going in the pocket is not going to those people going in the pocket. The fact that these people can just grab and go. I have to say, I can't even understand it. Grab and go, 23.5 million, 23.5 million with all legislative approval. And the president put temporary is a sedition, part of the government partisan, the speaker of the house. The whole thing is just, and nothing happened. So why are we paying the people $65 million to do nothing? Look, for me, if the U.S. government is serious about curving the thing rather than I'm tired of listening to the statement. I'm tired of listening to statement from the ambassador. If they're really serious, they know what to do. All the guys that are the problems for Liberia right now will be censured. Those responsible will be censured. Look,
But let me
Mr.
say something, though. Let me say something. After we read this real quick, maybe you know, or probably Leo, something's about to happen. It's not just the ambassador never came out to just speak. No. Make no mistake about it. He didn't.
I
And
know.
as we walk through the line, the second paragraph he said, unfortunately, on the trip, and he started a whole Dr. Taranka. Can you call your friend MacDella? I'd love to have her on this show to
I know.
discuss this thing.
I love to have her on the show too. But let me
If I
point out let me just point out quickly. His report, it's not inconsistent also with the State Department. I deal with the State Department reports a lot of time, especially on corruption, because especially when I'm trying these cases. So his mentality, I'm not mentality, what he see is not inconsistent with also what we get for the State Department report on the level of treatment of these people in Liberia. For them to for these people to be so and it's so, and he goes on to say and make mockery of the demoralizing effort. I mean, he's
Correct.
using these inflammatory words
Yes.
that are not inflammatory. That's what the people, you see, when you're inside something, you don't feel it. You in a toxic relationship, you think it's good when when that spouse beat on you and then give you gifts a little bit and stuff. You don't feel until someone outside looking in see the picture and we're like, oh my God, is this really the country that people used to come from all over West Africa for a vacation?
But let's dive into it, Dr. Taranka. I'm sorry. I want us to take our time because we got about another hour, 15 minutes to go. If you can bear with us. Let's go to the second paragraph real quick. That's Dr. Francine.
Stanton, can I just interrupt? I just sent the phone number to Diamond. Diamond, I sent you Madam Cooper's phone number to you. She might be joining us by phone if she can get in through the phone line. So I just wanted to say that I just had a conversation with her. Okay, go ahead, Stanton. I'm sorry.
That's fine. If anything, if they're having trouble, I can call her directly.
Oh, good.
But let me ask you this question. They said even the hospital, money that was promised in the budget, Leo, Dr. Richardson, the 2022 budget that President George Manawia, just look at this, right? This is very, very interesting. What good day? Imagine this. I want everybody to take a look. It was presented to the speaker. Everything was in it. Dr. Samuel Tua presented it to the speaker, who is now resides, who is now in Ivory Coast, and probably he's back in the country now because when the president asked him to go back to attend this meeting this morning, I heard a different story about that, but he was in Ivory Coast. He presented this to the speaker. The 2022 budget. It was approved. Dr. President George Manawia signed it. The ambassador is saying, my fellow Liberians, he said, listen to this. He said, trouble to encounter multiple county hospitals that receive not one penny of what they were promised in the 2022 budget. Hospital on which lives depend, where outbreaks are prevented and suffering is alleviated, did not receive. Imagine, Dr. Richardson, talk to us before we go around the table. These guys didn't put the money in it. The ambassador went behind them and got to chop the money. Listen, say what you want to say. Dr. Torega, say anything you want to say tonight. Dr. Richardson, say what you want to say. Leo, Napono, I guarantee you guys, the money didn't reach to them. Where's the money? The chopping. Talk to us, Dr. Richardson.
It's a good question. Where is the money? And all I can say is that every time we think likability and winnability will address the issues of the minority, the people that this ambassador is calling destitute, we are dead wrong. Okay, the people who we like and who we say we want to win do not care about the minority in the country, the people who we consider to be destitute. And that's what he's saying. He's saying that when this $100,000 were appropriated in the budget for William Hospital, Memorial Hospital, okay, in Lofa County, he said if it wasn't for the dedicated workers, the people who went every day to that hospital to deliver a mother or either to address an infection, and didn't even get paid if they weren't going without any pay. All right, that hospital will not even exist. It will not even be functioning. That's what he was trying to tell us. And then he went on to tell us that not a penny went to that hospital. What I actually took away from this paragraph is that he said the blocking of resources is so institutional that I think goes to what Fadiga was saying, that these people have institutionalized taking the Liberian people money from them, that nobody cares. They don't even get checked. There's no check and balance system. It is just okay for them to steal the Liberian people money. He's saying to us that lack of any alarm, nobody calls, no noise, nobody asks, no question. All right. And he is telling us that somebody got to know something. The Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Ministry of Finance, all these people were involved in not giving the hospital money, but nobody said a word. Nobody advocated for.
But Dr. Richardson, though. Hey, Dr. Richardson. You expect this man to talk, Samuel Twe? He cannot. He would not. You expect Samuel D. Twe to talk? Go look at the man houses in Ivory Coast, Leo. Go look at the mansion the boy is building, or he has built. See where Samuel Twe living in Liberia. You expect Samuel Twe to talk when the people didn't get 100,000? And for the sake of God, Leo, for the sake of God, man, what is 100,000 for the hospital? I want you to take that from Dr. Richardson and just line this thing up. What is 100,000 for the hospital? Are you kidding me?
But let me conclude if before Leo come in, and then we will be okay to say the Emirates should come in and develop a hospital, and then we'll run a hospital when we the own hospital that we have in our hospital in our country. I'm sorry, we can't even take care of it, but we'll come and make big news that the Emirates will come and build a hospital in Lofa, and we expect it to be ran by Liberian people.
We'll get to that Emirate hospital in Buffalo, because you know what? It's just an empty building now.
Oh,
just in less than 3 months. Okay, the government cannot. So we'll get to it. And James got a picture of the Emirate hospital ready. Let's show it to the folks. Leo, 100,000, man. You building a library in Painesville. You are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to give me to disclose what you spending or your team.
Yeah.
But just a little 100,000.
That's not even the foundation.
These guys have taken it. The president asked him for 250,000 to rent a car in Europe when he take his trip. But he cannot give 100,000 to the Liberian people in Lofa. Talk to me, Leo.
Yeah, and that's the first thing. It just tells you what the priority of people are. But the corruption is so bad to the point that people don't even care when babies are dying in the hospital because there's no gas in the generator. The corruption is so bad that people don't even care that we got 12-year-old little girls prostituting in the streets because somebody, their parents could not take salary to feed them.
Hey, Lord, hey, God.
Like, it's so bad that a parent has to be destitute because even the salary they're taking, if they collect 6 months in advance, they will still not be able to pay their rent and provide for the children. That's how bad the corruption is. And it's gotten to the place where it's gone beyond corruption now. It's not come to the total annihilation of the Liberian people. It's so bad that these guys people will build themselves mansions and put 6 feet high fences around it and put armed guards around it, but see the Zogo population increase right around them to the horror of ordinary people in the streets. It's so bad that right opposite Spoon TV office, somebody can attack a woman, broad daylight, and when she tried to resist, pull up a gun and shoot her broad daylight, not at night, right in a major part not far from Ministerial Complex, because we're talking about right close to Ministerial Complex there, in the same area. This is how bad corruption is. So bad that we are okay with having not enough police people to even guard Monrovia, and yet and still we can't even pay their salary yet. It's so bad that we would drive by the streets. The same police people that are supposed to run and open the gates for you people, their uniform are torn and ripped on them because when was the last time they got it? Look, it's hard. You don't know where to even begin from at this point. $100,000 is even shameful that an entire medical facility is allocated $100,000. How much is the Ministry of Presidential and State Affairs allocated again? How many millions? And hospital is allocated $100,000. That's the price of one 24K.
Can I hold you there with your last 30 seconds before we go to Al Hussein? When they were presenting this budget to the speaker, right? When Senator were presenting this budget to the speaker, listen, He said this. It is clear. He need 11 sectors to benefit. The 2022 budget, the ambassador talking about, that the people didn't get anything. Simon did what it mean 11 sectors. He said, listen, prioritized area to include health, education, agriculture, energy, environment, health, industrial and commerce, infrastructure and basic services, security, rule of law, public administration, and transparency and accountability. Why Senator are lying to the people?
Yeah, quickly.
The ambassador left from him, went behind him to check.
Yep.
Because the people talk about check and balance.
Yep.
Don't give me words, Senator. Don't lie to the Liberian people. You say it will benefit these sectors, and I will read it again. He said, and I read 11 sectors. A significant priority, Leo. Areas include health, education, agriculture, energy, environment, health, industry and commerce, infrastructure and basic services, security and the rule of law, public administration, and transparency and accountability. You take it from there, Leo. What a last time to be lying to the people.
I really think the ambassador just wanted to go to the extraordinary step to hold them accountable. But the ambassador just needed to go to Tottenham High. The ambassador just needed to go to G.W. Gibson, right in Monrovia. You shouldn't even go far. But to put it one step, the reason they can lie like this is because our legislature is part of the deal and requesting no report. How do you request the finance minister to come and give you an update of what's happening with the budget? And he comes and just speak to you off the cuff with no documentary report or evidence for you to track it down for what he's actually saying, and you accept it and he walk away. So let's go back. The executive and the legislature has both combined and connived. That's why the Liberian people should vote all of them out, including the legislature, because they are incapable of holding the executive accountable and doing their job. So they all are in cahoots. But to your point, Stanton, the ambassador, because if you say it out here, people say you are making it up. So the ambassador decided to go there and wrote his report. And I'm yet to see one person say the ambassador said a lie. If the government think what the ambassador said is a lie, let us send a press release and say the ambassador lied.
The fool are dead. They can say, they fool. But hold on 1 minute. I know we got MacDella Cooper on the phone, right? Let me let you hear from Dr. Taranka. She want to say something real quick. Dr. Taranka, please.
Well, you know, I was looking up the word destitute, and then I'm back to that word again. And it is literally basically for someone who do not even have the basic necessity. Is he wrong? Absolutely not. Look around Liberia. The vast majority of the income that support the people of Liberia is the remittance that they receive from the people in the diaspora. End of story. They're not going to work and making salary. So I am working here, and I am supporting my family here, and I'm also supporting a very full family in Liberia, extended family in Liberia. So I have that in my line item budget. If I don't send an X number of dollars, I looked at my send wave and I'm like, oh my God, like, so it is destitution when you're relying on charity to eat. He used the appropriate and correct word. You know, when they talk about the 100,000, you know, book of Matthew tells us 28, whoever is given a little to be faithful with, he's going to be given a lot. So they're testing them and giving them 100,000 to allocate to a very basic necessity, which is the health of the people. We can't even uphold that. But here's it. I go back again to the point. The reason why we're quiet and there's no alarm. He's actually concerned that there's no alarm because we Liberian people have accepted mediocrity. If we do not put them to their foot, if you in a relationship, which that's what it is, and you enter into a marriage relationship, if the person start doing something initially and you say, I'm not going to take it, they're going to change. You have an administration who is going to test. They're going to take the money from the people, and I'm going to give them around elections time. We're going to throw in some rice. We're going to throw in a little bit, and then they're going to accept it. For generations, at least the last 2 decades, we have accepted mediocrity. The structure has been based on mediocrity for the people. The people are not holding them accountable because it goes back to the Constitution. It gives the Constitution, gives the people the power. If I know I have power to bring you down from that office that I have hired you for me, trust me and believe me, they wouldn't be behaving like this. We have accepted corruption. And it's like I said, it's consistent with everything the State Department says every 2 years when they make their report.
Thank you very much, Dr. Toreko. Real quick, we got Diamond because MacDella, our own dear sister and friend, that Madam Cooper is on. Diamond, 1 minute. Let me give 30 seconds to Al Hussein. I'm trying to balance this up real quick. Al Hussein.
You want to cheat me up, man. But what I would say is it reminds me of the Rajapaksa dynasty or something in Sri Lanka. What you guys are doing, all these projects, they are carrying on a lot of vein projects at the hospital that nobody will go to. This is how people eat money. This is how you get money. They carry all these vein projects that some of them are needed, some of them. It's just to say, you see what I've done? This have never been done since 1847. It's all about politics and not about changing lives.
Thank you very much. Now we can bring it down to hear from Madam Cooper. It is important, folks. Please. We're going to discuss the full length of this statement tonight. It is important for you to listen. They will have your mind going to be transformed tonight. You must listen. Call your Oma. Call Ma Mary. Call Opa. Call Oma Jala. They must listen to this because Joe and his people, they're lying to you. Let's bring in Madam Cooper. Dama, let's bring in Madam Cooper, please.
Okay, so Madam Cooper.
Yes.
You live.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I am sorry for the poor connectivity we are having today. It's raining here in my district, or in my neck of the woods. It's raining heavily. Maybe that's why I'm having such a poor connection. I was really looking forward to this show, but I'm glad I can still join by phone.
Thank you very much, Madam Cooper. I'm so sorry. You know, I always like to see you. I'm going to have a very bad dream tonight. I was looking forward to seeing you. Now I cannot see you. I would just hear your voice. But I'm glad to have you, Madam Cooper. I'm glad to have you on the show. Let's discuss, when we reached out to you, inviting you on the show, we really wanted to talk about your program since you went back to the country. Election is but almost 5 months. Talk to us. We saw you with Alexander Cummings and Honorable Yeka Koruba. Then this gone Saturday, I saw you with Jose Yiman Bwaka and Honorable Yeka Koruba. Talk to us. What's your game plan like right now?
Look, my vision, as well as the vision of the Honorable Representative Yeka Koruba, is to a united opposition. That's it. We, at some point, when there's so much chaos, confusion, ego, or whatever it is, someone's got to stand up and make sense of it all. And it will take Honorable Yeka Koruba and myself to try to bring the opposition together. Look, it's about David to slay a Goliath. We have a Goliath in our nation today. And I think the big bombshell that hit this evening with the U.S. ambassador's letter confirming everything we have been screaming from the mountaintop to say, look, guys, this country is spiraling into a major disaster. We have a bunch of thieves led by President Weah and his cronies of gangs and thugs. They are ripping our country like a horrible old man ripping a little baby. And when they're done, this country is going to be massively destroyed. And the ambassador's letter this evening was just was the icing on the cake that we needed for people to understand the message. They cry out from the mountaintop. Now, what is Honorable Yeka Koruba and MacDella Cooper doing together? We are trying to wake up the opposition to stand together, to unite and be strong to defeat this horrible, incumbent administration. I had to take my time to say it because I want to say it so loud and clear that even a baby in his crib understand what I'm saying. These people are a bunch of incompetent people that knows nothing about leadership, has no interest in Liberia and its economy or its people. They're just here to steal everything they can steal. And this is enough is enough. The opposition must stand up irrespective of who selected what, who supported what. We must band together and remove these people from our country. Otherwise, we don't have a country. We wouldn't have a constitution.
I'm so honorable, MacDella Cooper. Indeed, I call you honorable because you are running for the highest office in the land. We are here today to discuss issue, and yet there we go. As you said, the bombshell from the United States ambassador. You read it, I believe. You went over it. I mean, what's your take? Well, I mean, choose any paragraph, and let's talk about this thing that is happening to our nation.
Look, I wish I was seeing you guys and know who's talking so I can refer to you by your name.
It's Stanton. Stanton.
And don't forgive me if I'm not referring to you with your name because I like to do that. The question you ask, again, I'll repeat. The ambassador's a letter to Liberia on his press release through a letter just confirmed everything we have been saying. This administration is out for one thing. They're out to rape Liberia. They are out to rape this country, not just our children, because they're a bunch of pedophiles, they're a bunch of rapists, they're a bunch of thieves, they're economic hitmen. They have come to rape Liberia beyond belief. And if every parent doesn't stand up, their baby girls and baby boys will be raped by these pedophiles. And our government does not stand up, has institutions against these thugs. They will rape every agency of government because they have their thugs planted within every agency. So just like you saw the ambassador, it is the words of the United States ambassadors, and he has every right to say what he's saying because their taxpayer dollars is funding our agencies when our government continuously say they don't have money to fund our agencies. But so the U.S. taxpayer dollars are being used, and they're eating those people's money, and the people have the right to question where their taxpayer dollars are going. And we should, and we're not going to stop here on this show tonight. We're going to let the U.S. Taxpayers know that this particular administration is using their taxpayer dollars for their personal use. And let's stop every dollar that's coming from the United States to Liberia, because that's wrong.
Real quick. I want to bring in the rest of the folks, Madam Cooper.
Other people have money, purpose for that money, but they're still sorry for us because we are a country of people who are starving, who have been abused, and they're coming to our rescue. And so if we're going to play around, get their money to a bunch of thieves, they would stop giving their money to our country. I will yield here now and give you back the microphone.
No, I just wanted to add to what you were just saying before I bring in that Richardson, Leo Napoleon Al-Hussein, and I'm going to bring in your colleague, your sister. Thank you for bringing her on. I mean, that we can have a very, very good conversation tonight. But real quick, you are now calling the American government to stop the support? Is that what I'm hearing from you? Till this government leaves power?
I told the U.S. government in 2017. I told all of the foreign governments in 2017. Don't give $1 to these individuals until they can give you, until there's accountability for the funds you're pouring into our economy. If the money is not trickling down to the people who really need it, why should we put it in the pockets of these thieves and thugs and these rogues? Because that's what they really are. The U.S. government should stop funding these rogues because now the fund is going to be used to weaponize our democracy against ourselves. And so the U.S. and every other country that's funding them should stop the funding. We are already suffering. Our people are already suffering because the money is not trickling down to our education sector, our healthcare sector, and even our businesses. It's going to the pockets of the thieves. So why continue to give them money to weaponize us?
So, Dr. Richardson, there you go. There is no trickle-down effect from what we're receiving. Senator can come and say IMF, World Bank, United Nations, but notwithstanding, he take that money to Ivory Coast and he built his big mansion. He take that money, the rest of them, by the way, you know what George Weah built? All his 18 condominiums and this recent home. We can go into it. So, Dr. Richardson, go ahead, shoot your questions.
Yes, Madam Cooper, always glad to have you on Spoon. My question to you, just said something about weaponizing that this establishment, the people that are in power right now that are using the funding that are given to them, they are weaponizing our people and weaponizing democracy against our people. You just mentioned that. Can you tell us some of the things that you are doing in Liberia to make our people informed about this weaponry that is being used against them?
Cameron, can you repeat the question with Dr. Frank? I want to make sure I understand it very well.
Tamara, did you
Yeah,
hear?
Dr. Francine, you can repeat the question for her, ma'am.
Yes, you have mentioned that the establishment, the people who are receiving funds from the United States and that are not making Liberia better for Liberian citizens, only a few of them are enjoying the money in Liberia. You mentioned that they are weaponizing democracy against the Liberian people. That's the sense that I got from you. Can you tell us some of the things that you are doing to make Liberian people more aware of this weaponry that is being used? Because I think at the end of the day, it is the Liberian people that have to rise up against this weaponry.
Right. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. But what we are trying to do is, number one, the leadership of the opposition. You see, our people don't have the voice because they're just tired, Francine, Dr. Francine. The people barely have one meal to eat. And that one meal is oil and rice. Oil and rice. You mix potato grains. We're back to wartime poverty. And so the people of Liberia right now don't have a voice. Yes, they're giving them a laminated card and said, this is your democratic right. You can now go to the polls and vote. But you already know the intel community across the world has sent out enough evidence that there's a pre-rigging that has taken place with this election. So they're giving a few people in Liberia a laminated card and say, okay, now you have your democracy in your hand. But the government has already pre-programmed this attempt to rig this election. So no amount of money that we're going to put into this election is going to cause anybody to win. Because number one, the government has already rigged the election, starting with the censors, going on to the BVR. And so the Liberian people are tired. They need strong individuals, people who have the country at heart. And that is what I said on Electoral TV the other day. I said, can you imagine? People said continuously, oh, y'all get young, we had a country, yeah. The man got half of the country, oh, the man got half of the country. Imagine if this man didn't have half of the country. If this is what is showing, if this is the result of a man that has a heart for this nation, look at the extreme poverty. His pro-poor agenda is working because the poor people are so poor, there is absolutely nothing left for them besides just they decide if they send their children to school or they bury their children. You know, it's great because we are being a so-called child of the indigenous soil with the name Wea. The indigenous people really hoped and thought that Wea was going to try to elevate the poor people and the indigenous people in this country because the common man was looked at as the wicked people of this country. Now he's even more wickeder than the country people that he was accusing of ripping this country apart. The so-called son of the spoil has become even wickeder than the so-called people that was accused of the wicked. Now, what am I doing? Waking up the opposition bloc. Waking up the opposition bloc and giving them a clarion call to say, look, whatever you are chosen to, whatever position you're chosen for, don't let it be the one that will discourage you from rescuing our country. In every nation, there's a 20% of people who really cares about the nation, not about their pockets, that always change the direction of the country. And so I'm looking for that 20% that will wake up and say enough is enough. What if I'm elected as president? What if I'm selected to be a vice president? What if I'm going to be a foreign minister or just a bus boy? I will fight for this nation for everything I got in me. And that is why I'm meeting. That is why I'm meeting with Bokai. That is why I'm meeting with companies to say, look, stop this foolish game about who gets what. None of y'all are going to run this country into the future anyway. So let's just work hard, get off your fucking egos. Excuse my French. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm pissed off. Get off your damn egos and let's fight for this country. That is why I'm meeting with these guys. Of course, they don't like what I'm saying right now. But that's how I feel. And sometimes when people don't want to listen, you have to use foul language to get them to listen. Because that's the only way they'll get off their asses to realize this country is at stake. It is not about who becomes president.
I'm not getting her.
Cummings is very shy. He's afraid of people. Look, we all got our problems. But our problems doesn't equate to where laziness, his incompetency. We have to stand up for Liberia now. And that is what I'm doing for Dr. Francine. Sorry for the loud voice, but sometimes enough is enough. I'm sick and tired.
Madam Cooper, I have another question for you. I mean, it is no surprise to anyone that I don't want the easy way out for Liberians. I think we can conscientize Liberians enough to choose a competent leader. I'm not in favor of just replacing one leader after the other, just for the sake of removing George Weah. And I really wanted to know, when you say that, we want just a leader, can you elaborate on that a little bit? That only the Liberian people cannot select their own leader. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit more so I can get it clear? I actually believe, and I'm sure you know that, I believe that Mr. Cummings is the best leader that can change Liberia at this point. I don't believe that having someone who was in the establishment prior to, I don't believe that having vice president.
Yeah, I'm sorry to talk over. I didn't mean to talk over you. I thought you were done.
No,
I appreciate the love for Alexander Cummings. We all love Alexander Cummings. We love Buckeye. We love MacDella Cooper. We love Gunglo. We all have love for each other, right? We're all friends at the end of the day, competing for a position. Now, that position should not be it should not be a setback. We got to fight for our people. Our people are then pushed to the corner. As you can see, the ambassador's letter as to how this country is being rigged by his stuff, his den of thieves. And so there's no question, no Liberian person is no question what way his den of thieves are doing to this country right now. Now, let me just say this, and I promise you guys this will be the last time I say this on your show. The opposition from Joseph Boakai to Alexander Cummings to Gongo to we have to get up our asses and stop trying to cry like a baby for presidency. We have got to stand up for the Liberian people irrespective of what position we get. Okay? So this is not about I like you, I think you're good for me. No, it's what's good for Liberia. It's what's good for the betterment of this country. The number one agenda here is to figure out who are those two people that are going to go big way out to a good football game in this election that comes up. Big kid, he will be so tired, he will not even enjoy the money now. So, we like Cummings, we like Buckeye, we like MacDella Cooper, we like Gonglo. We are all qualified to run this country. We are much better individually than the whole Weah's gang. There is no qualified person that Weah's gang. Me and Luke can take this country to a better direction than Weah ever can. I'm sure Cummings can, I'm sure Buckeye can, and Gonglo can. So, that's not a question. But right now, the Liberian people, let me tell you, in this country, our politics is not American politics. Our country is very tribalistic. Right now, people know that Joseph Boakai is very old. He has a pump in his heart. But the state saying, you know what, y'all come up here when I see y'all young guy, y'all do for us. Y'all never did anything for us. We want our country man. So that's why the people looking at Joseph Boakai because our country man. Okay? So let me be the one to tell you the truth. Because Alex Cummings is a Congo man. The country people don't want a Congo man to rule them. They don't. They honestly don't. We go across like Alexander Cummings will not get a vote for the country people. Because why? He reminds them of the past. He reminds them of the past. He's a Congo man. He only educated people like you, Dr. Francine. Doesn't relate to the flesh. Unfortunately, they won't see him. And I'm telling you the truth tonight. And I hope Alex is listening to me. That is the truth out there. And I'm in a race and I'm saying this to you. Okay? So you can think that narrative is not coming, but you're not living in a village. They don't want to see the educated people because the educated people don't stand for educated people. They want someone who will stop down and say and speak a dialect. In that dialect, they understand at least you can communicate with them. So the Oka will want to hear it. Let's be honest. I'm home. I'm in the country. I'm in the villages. I'm in the
wow.
town.
So, Madam Cooper, we got to move on. Let me bring in the other guys, please. You are being on fire tonight. I wish you were on the show, though. Are you saying this thing about it's time for them to go back to the country people because they're not understanding? We got to be. I understand you are not in the Congo country divide, but you come in with that fire tonight that folks are saying that you should come on tomorrow and they enjoy you, they want to see you, they want to hear you because you are speaking like someone they are saying though. They are saying you are saying the truth. Leo, let's go to Leo Al-Hussein and we're bringing Dr. Taranka to talk to our sister. Leo, you hear something strange.
Yeah.
From tonight though.
I have some I'll start with the last comment that Madam Cooper made about Cummings being a Congo man and people won't listen to people speaking their dialect. I thought we've played this game over and over. So, Madam Cooper, my question to you is the most recent memory of governance in Liberia, they're not Congo people. And number two, where did you get the information that Cummings is a Congo man? Because he's always stated that he's Gribble from Maryland County. Is he wrong and you're right?
Madam Cooper, are you there?
Do we lose her?
Yes, ma'am. Leo did ask a question. So you want him to repeat if you didn't get the question?
Repeat the question.
Okay, I'll quickly repeat the question. I'm saying, first of all, I heard you talking about the people who want to Joseph Boaga. Oh, he may even get a pommy a hat, but Joseph Boaga, a countryman, and he can speak the dialect and everything. But Cummings a Congo man, and the point won't go by the Congo man because of the history. So my question to you is this. The most recent memory of governance in Liberia, that from the native people, and I'm from no Congo people business. And number two, does that mean we should disenfranchise anyone who's Congo from contesting for the highest seat only because of that? And lastly, Cummings has always said he's Gribble, and that has been all we've heard from him. So is he wrong and you are right by saying he's actually Congo?
You're not in Liberia. You can pretend to be Liberian all you want. I know you're Liberian citizen because you're born Liberian. You sit in Canada, you're not in the country to know what the people are saying. I'm here.
Madam Cooper, can you answer my question, please, instead of attacking me?
I'm sitting here. I'm a presidential candidate. I'm saying these things, okay? I happen to have a name Cooper. Okay? And when you have these names, it appears to people that you're one of those American Liberians that has come home to not come and take the best position and enrich yourself. Why you think people want to vote for George Weah? Why? You think because his name Cooper or his name is Benson or Johnson? No. The people in the villages, when you go and do your survey, put some money into a poll and go around the country and find out what people are saying. We have already done, I paid $30,000 to do a poll in this country, okay? And the poll tells you the same thing. So where do I get my information? I'm sitting with the people. I'm hearing from the people. I'm interacting with them. I'm not sitting Canada on a TV show. So this is not an insult to you, but you asking me where am I getting this information? And I'm getting it from the mouths of the people.
So just a quick follow-up. Are you saying that you are helping spread disinformation and misinformation? If Cummings says he's a Gribble man, you go somewhere, you hear people say he's a Congo man, and you're telling me, no, let me finish. Can you let me finish? Can you please let me finish?
You have to understand dynamics of Liberian politics to get involved with Liberian politics.
Can you please let me finish?
Hold on, Leah. You will continue. Let you just rest with what she's saying, and you can do your follow-up. Go ahead, Madam Cooper.
Yeah, we have a very indigenous culture, the masses of this country. Even we have left our young people uneducated. They have grown into adults. And those adults, they think they're stupid. They understand very well what this country has done to them. And who do they pay attention to? The fact that the indigenous haven't had too much right in this country for a very long time. So they're still dwelling on that. I'm not preaching divisive politics here. I go into villages, I go into town. My father is from American Bone County. My mother is from Yankee River G. I'm a Gribble woman myself. But when I go to the Gribble people, I have to prove to them I'm Gribble. I have to prove, extraordinarily prove. I mean, prove to them that I'm Gribble. Because I come with a name Cooper. If I come with a name Wurati, they will not ask me a question.
So thank you. So Madam Cooper, I'm a bit shocked and surprised that we're reducing the politics of Liberia to actually this, but I will say this in my follow-up question. You still, in my opinion, haven't answered my question. Just because somebody assumes that you are not Gribble because your name is Cooper, are you telling me that the Liberian people believe that everyone with an English name in Liberia is Congo, number one? Number two, my question to you is going to be very direct. Should political leaders or people vying to be politicians in our country start to dispel these stereotypes that have led us to 14 years of civil war, where people assume people were Mandingo, people assume people were crying and executed their family? Should political leaders start to take the lead in dispelling these rumors, or perpetuating more and say, because you need a Congo knee, step aside, let native men get that because a native need a person get?
My brother, you have to ask the people. You don't have to ask me that question. I am a native girl with a Congo name. And being in Liberian politics, when you go to the people, that's the reaction you get. Where am I coming from? Look, we have to have a whole different show to discuss that tonight. We are focused on talking about the opposition right now. Let's focus on that.
I'm asking for your role as a political leader. What's your role?
My role is to educate the people. That's why I built an academy to educate young Liberians. You think any of my students talk about whether who you indigenous or you Congo or you native? My students that hail from my school, that went through my school, they don't ask those questions. I don't ask people when I employ them what tribe are they. But unfortunately, we have done our own injustice in this country by leading out so-called the native man child from school, from the education process. And so what you expect them? You have young girls getting their clitoris cut off in this country in the name of travel or ethnic or tradition. You think that's right? You think for someone to ask what tribe you think it's right? It's not right. That's wrong. That is why I, MacDella Cooper, the first time I came home as a young woman, 24 years of age, I built a massive academy to educate our young people. Because why? The young people that came to my house with those weapons, they didn't know, they didn't have education. They saw a United Nations flag hanging from my house, and they still took my father and murdered him in cold blood because if they knew that man worked for the United Nations, they wouldn't have killed that poor man. That is why, to heal this nation, we must enforce education. We must enforce education for every child, not just for the Congo man child, not just and leave the native man child out. We have got to focus on educating this entire nation. That is the only way we can rescue our country from this complete darkness. George Weah, right now, was left for the education system. That is why we have an ignorant president. Let's think the truth on the show. Otherwise, we are wasting our time figuring out a big series, having our doctor titles, and sitting in America saying you care about Liberia. We have all got to invest in educating every child of this nation. And that is why I moved back to Liberia 20 years ago to June. And so if you can sit in America and think a big series on this show, but the reality on the ground is different, my brother. It's absolutely different. The people say they want a native man to rule this country. Out of all of our opposition leaders, the one that sounds like most native is the one they're going to take. You should sit there and say, you talk about Ellis Cummings. Ellis Cummings doesn't have a chance. He doesn't have a chance.
Let's bring in Al-Hussein. Al-Hussein? Leo will come back to you. Leo will come back to you.
You let it fly. You let it slide.
No, but Leo will make our comment.
For the political leader to go personal on people's character that she doesn't.
So Leo, we will come back to you and you'll make your comment. Let's bring in Al-Hussein. Al-Hussein?
Thank you, Stanton. Madam Cooper, I had an opportunity to browse over your resume, impressive resume. Back in October 2016, you had publicly announced that you will be a candidate running for president, which you did. You came 8th place, actually, with 11,000 votes. Shortly after the election, we saw that you switched your support to President Weah. You called on all your supporters to support then Senator Weah, who you have a very close relationship with. My question to you is, what is the CDC not doing right?
You have to apply your words. Say what you want to say. I got close relationship with everybody in this country. I got close relationship with Ellis Cummings. I got close relationship with I got close relationship with say what you want to say, my man. We're on a show you. I mean, I get time. I'm gonna say what you want to say.
No, I don't want that to I don't want your relationship to the president to overshadow the question. I'm just trying to tell you that you are closer to the president than most people. My question to you is, what shortly after the election, you and few other candidates decided to support you, instructed, and I quote, you say, this is a new day that is coming for Liberia, and I'm instructing all of you to give your support to President Weah. What is the CDC not doing right? And why should we trust you this time around, that you will not flip again?
What's your name? I want to address it by your name. What's your name?
My name is Al-Hussein.
Okay, it's breaking up. I can't get it. But my brother, let me say this to you. You see, I've been in the trenches, building schools, providing health care, taking care of women groups in this country, trying to elevate lives from zero to, I guess we say, hero, right? That has been my passion for the past 20 years of my adult life. Now, let me explain to you. When you're in a country like this and you feel the pulse of the people, now I'm a businesswoman besides doing politics. That's how I make my money legally. I do investment. I bring investment groups from across the world to invest in projects across Africa. We have several $1 million groups projects across this region, and all of it going down to South Africa. Now, when you live in a country and you're next to the people, you hear the people, you see the people, I'm going to lay in the mid. Now, you see the pulse of the people from the polls and the surveys that were done. It was where the people of this country thought they wanted. It was where, not Buckeye, not MacDella Cooper, not Alexander Cummings. It was where the people wanted. And I was on the ground, and I saw the writing was already on the wall. My youth came to me and said, Madam Cooper, if you don't the people there, the people making it hard for you in this country. Look, I was here when Ellen was president for 12 years. I didn't have a government job, survived in this country. I knew where I was going to come here, I was going to survive in this country. But where was the choice of the Liberian people? You go up, you go down, you ask questions, who supported, who didn't support. You don't like to ask me the question because I had a past relationship with Where. Where had many relationships with many people. I hope I can ask him the same question. How many women?
No, the main question in this is what is he not doing right? I want you to specifically say what is going wrong now. Forget about that.
The people of Liberia wanted George Weah, and I will always support what the people want. If the people don't want you, we're not going to support you. If the people want you, XYZU, we will support what the people of this country want. Because people had to experience that we had nothing to offer them. We had nothing to offer them. Now they know. And they're looking for an alternative. And what is the alternative? At this late hour in the game, what do we tell the people? The people listen to us. They follow us. We feed them. We take care of their needs. Send them to hospital. We take care of their problems. We find solutions to their life problems. And so when they come to us and say, this is what they want, we ask them, is this what you really want? If that's what you want, hey, so be it. We're going to start a coup d'etat against the people? No, we don't believe in that. Now, I will stop here and turn the microphone back to you.
No. I still got one more question, but I don't feel that.
Yeah, but go ahead.
The question was
that's your second question.
What is it? That was not my second question. My first question was, what is the CDC not doing right? That was my question. What is the CDC? Because she supported them now. I know she would withdrawing her support. What is the CDC under President Weah not doing well? It can be everything. She can just touch one or two things, and then I'll go with my second question.
Look, you already gave you an answer because the answer is not going to benefit you. It's going to offend Weah, right? The people don't want Weah right now. Weah has stolen enough from this country. They both realize Weah don't care for this country, not because he got a native name. He does not care about this country. The people's eyes are open to the reality of who this man is. They saw his success. They thought he was going to be like someone like MacDella, who had a great deal of success in New York City and took her money and brought it to Liberia and opened schools for their kids. Help women grow, get microloans. Took some young children from a horrible situation and put them in a much better situation. Put them in university across the world, any like that. The people saw Weah's glitz and glamour to his accomplishments, right? And they thought, oh, maybe if we put our man there, he would do something for us. So they both said, they ain't doing nothing for us. Nothing. So, yes, we supported what the people wanted. I don't regret it. I don't. We supported the people in what they wanted. They didn't want Joseph Boakai. Otherwise, I voted for Joseph Boakai in the last race. I voted for Joseph Boakai because
let me move on to my next question. Thank you, Madam Cooper. My second question, this is going to be quick. On December 8th of 2020, you did an RFI article. We said Liberian self-proclaimed feminist president, we have failed to nominate woman candidate. Do you believe that the president is a feminist, and does he have respect for women, specifically Liberian women?
Where has no respect for women? He self-titled himself feminist in chief. He might as well call himself I don't care for Liberia in chief, because that's really what he is. He doesn't respect Liberian women. Listen to the statement he made about Liberian women the last time. He married a foreign woman because, he just close his mouth and realize he's the president sometimes. He just understand sometimes he's a president and not open his mouth to everything, right? Because the moment you open your mouth, it's just something coming out that's so outrageous and ridiculous. As if it's not a lie, fed to him by his mind buddies around him, he needs to stop it. And so he doesn't respect women. That's why the CDC don't put the women out who are in CDC. There's some really amazing women in CDC. Really incredible, strong women in CDC. Why they're there, I don't know, because they're constantly being disrespected. But they're there. I can force them to move from there. They could have put some of those women on the ballot. They said no. But they couldn't find credible women. And I look at those women and I say, y'all see are running behind somebody who don't even respect you. Huh? Y'all see you're running behind somebody who don't even respect you. If you're not a girlfriend, it is they up with you. They can do nothing for you. So unfortunately he does not. You want my answer? No, he doesn't respect women.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to bring in your dear friend. I understand that she's gonna ask you some.
Chief of staff, that's Mrs. and Dr. Taranka.
Dr. Taranka. I'm probably she's gonna ask you some questions, but let me. I'm seeing a different side of you, Madam Cooper. Let me be straightforward with this one question before I bring in Dr. Taranka. Are you endorsing Jose Yima Boakai now?
Absolutely not. I'm not endorsing anyone. I want to see who makes sense on that table. Discuss it. They're up sitting together. I told you what the people said. I'm not endorsing no one. It's very clear. I'm not here to endorse anyone. I want to sit on the table with the opposition leader to say, what are we going to do? How are we going to in a few days, Joseph Boakai is going to be selecting his running mate, right? He's going to be selecting his running mate. And the chips are on the table. Do you have two people there? You have big as one of the options, and you have a name from Nima, Jeremiah Coon. Now, I will tell you this much. If Joseph Boakai who is here, and so he's selecting Jeremiah Coon as his running mate,
But again, are you conflicting with your statement tonight? Because you're saying the Liberian people are looking for the native son, somebody from the cultural background, not a Witherspoon, not a Cummings, not a Cooper, but a Boakai, a Johnson, somebody of those name con. And now you're saying if Jeremiah Coon is a VP candidate, then we should pack our bags. So what are we hearing from you?
Look, Jeremiah Coon is in bed with CT. And Boakai has to be very smart. I'm not the one to decide Boakai's face and who he chooses as his running mate, but Jeremiah Coon is in bed with CDC. So that's the conversation. If Boakai wants to go and pick someone who's in bed to have a continuation, because Boakai is of a certain age, he's a very sweet old man. He's of a certain age. I have a lot of respect for Boakai, but he has to be wise in his game. If he's the one over us that we're going to go for, he has to be wise in selection. He has to be extremely wise in his selection. And who he chooses as a running mate, because that person is going to run this country. So look, I don't like to sit and waste my time. I have many things to do. If I'm going to be in politics, I want to speak the truth. I'm not here to play a political game with anyone or this country. The reality is, Boakai should be very wise in selecting his running mate, because that person is going to be running this country. Not that I'm suggesting anything is going to happen to the old man, but we have to respect the fact that he's in his sunset years. He's not a 40-year-old. If he was 40-year-old, I wouldn't be having this competition. But he's at a certain age, which is his sunset years. When you're in your sunset years, you're in your sunset years.
Thank you, Madam Cooper. Let me bring in Dr. Taranka. Dr. Taranka, you have any question or comment to add?
I don't have a question. I'm pretty understanding on what she's saying. I know most people, Cooper is a realist. She is going to dissect things as a realist, not painting them with some kind of facade. And I think when she threw her support behind WIA, and as she rightfully said, listen, this is what the people want, in order to show a true effort of concession, rather than appear to be someone who, because Hassan wanted to hint to it, she probably have a personal relationship with him, so there's a personal vendetta. This is what the people want. We need to throw our support, and maybe we can have a government that the people can be proud of. Similarly, when she spoke about the fact that people voting based either on name, we have to understand that Liberians are emotional voters, because there's so many political parties. There's so many political parties, so it's not like when you have Democrats and Republican, you vote for either one, or you're a Democrat, you're going to go down the line and vote party line, no matter what candidate is in office. We are emotional voters, and I think tribalism has played a role in the transition of the different elections since Tubman, and then we went to Doe, where one of the reasons why they were so excited to put Doe because he was a native son. And I mean, again, that's however the people are going to vote. But we're looking at a situation where we are in a dire situation. When Ellen Johnson left office, she practically the debt was the debt given to Liberia was not as high. I mean, because when she came in, a lot of the countries have forgiven our debts and funding were in Liberia. And now we are back. Yeah, and now we are back with having an enormous amount of debt. So anyone who is anyone who is going to become president, it's not going to be overnight. You are inheriting a mess. So it might take you. You're going to need 12 years because we kind of retrogressed back than where Ellen Johnson had left us. So they're going to be inheriting a lot of headaches. So, I mean, quite frankly, I don't believe she withdrew her support. What she's trying to say, I withdrew my support. Their support was given because in the whole essence of exercising concession, so that the people, that we're not going to cause a chaos. We want the people who have voted you in to experience someone who said they're going to do this for the country, and everything that he said he was going to do for the country during the campaigning, that's not happening. I mean, not just the people, but we have we have our supporters who are the United States, who are funding money into the country, that are having a problem. They have us. It's not just us here making noise. The country has retrogressed back so much so that we don't know what's going to happen. We've had rice issues, and we know that the same rice issue there was fear, because we know that there was the war. You know, the same rice issue caused the war, I believe, under Tauber. So what she's saying, it's not off the mark that people are feeling. They are emotional voters systemically. So that's what she's trying to explain.
That's a Turanka. Thank you very much. I want to bring in one question each, going back to Dr. Richardson. We have to go to the phone line, and I want the folks to have the chance to ask Madam Cooper a question. Dr. Richardson, if you can, I will slide this in real quick. I want Madam Cooper to understand. Tomorrow we'll also be discussing the rest of this. I hope, if you can, you join us, Madam Cooper. The rest of this, the ambassador statement out here is very, very damaging. The people have taken a lot from our country, and they have continued to take from our country.
We have Thursday or Friday would be a good time to come, because tomorrow, I believe we have Dr. Moniba coming in.
Is that confirmed, Hussein? Clarence? Yeah. Okay, tomorrow we have Clarence Moniba, that's right.
They're coming in.
And Wednesday we have Reverend Tappet, the chairman of Unity Party. So again, let me just say this. If we can, I will be glad to have Madam Cooper back. Dr. Richardson, your one question, because it's after 6.
Yes, Madam Cooper, you have ran to be the president of Liberia. At least you're going on your second trial now. You having a conception that Liberians are very tribal people. They want to vote for a Buckeye or a Nupulu or some of a tribal name. What have motivated you to keep coming back in the race when you already have said this about Liberians?
You have to stay with the people and gain their trust. It's not going to happen overnight because you think you deserve it or you earn it or it's your time. Gotta stay with the people, continue to support the people. So and that's the only way you're going to get their trust. So you can't just one time you run away. You got to keep coming back. They put consistency. Consistency builds in any relationship, in marriages, in friendship, in politics. Consistency builds trust. And I would say consistent with what I want to do for this nation. And eventually, the people are going to, you know what? She may have a Cooper name, and we had this notion of people who had names but you know what? Let's give her a chance. And that's what's going to happen. And so you got to stay consistent, Dr. Francine, and that's what I'm doing.
Is that the only method to stay consistent by running for the presidency? I'm just curious, and then I'll end my question. I don't only have one question.
Sure. So what was the end of the question?
Is that the only method to stay consistent, just by running for the presidency?
The president wasn't the one thing I ran for. I've built a political party. I support the Lapa Revolution. I was co-founder of the Lapa Revolution in this country, trying to fight for women's rights to represent and participate in politics here in Liberia. And so the Lapa Revolution, of course, it does more than just fighting for women's rights. But the idea is running for the presidency is my passion. I know how to bring money into this country, and Liberia needs money more than anything. Money. Liberia needs investment. We have a slew of resources. We are a resource-rich country. But without removing the red tape of doing business in this country, protecting our investment partners, we will never move anywhere because we need money. You heard the U.S. ambassador, what he wrote in his release. The monies at United States administration and the increase of operating budget at 3.7% in 2022. And that money is all going to people's personal pockets. We've got to stop the corruption. I know the president, I can do great for this nation. I'm not going to stop, Dr. Francine. It's my vision for this nation, and I will continue to do it until the Liberian people say, look, it's your, we'll try you out. You got to be online to be called. You got to be online to be called. You can't be in a play on the field. No, in any sports, whether it's basketball, American football, or soccer, whatever it is sports you like, you got to be sitting on the bench. And putting your name down is to say, my hands are up. You can call on me. Available. If you're not available, how are they supposed to select you? So, irrespective of the tribal politics that's being preached right now, that's being practiced in the country, look, at some point the poor realize we have put enough in there. Now let's go back to those so-called people with the American names. And you gotta be there. When the people are ready for the change of ties, you gotta be there, Dr. Francine. You gotta be there.
We're all due respect.
Thank you, Leo.
We're all due respect, Dr. Cooper, but the so-called people of the American names.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Leo, your one question, because it's almost 6:15 here.
Yeah, no,
we have
thank
to go
you.
to the phone line.
Thank you. So first of all, I would just like to say, we're not asking much from our people in the villages. We're asking much from those of you who are running for presidents. To him or her, who much is given, much is required. And I think, Dr. Cooper, can you say that you've ran for president? According to you, you are in Liberia, you are on the ground, you are in the villages. We are not. We are in the diaspora here. But it seems like your message doesn't seem to be resonating based on the results you keep getting in the elections. Can you clearly state then, how come that this message of you proving yourself that you Gribble, you're not Congo, how come that message is not resonating and you still seem, even from your recent comment, that you don't think you will win this upcoming election? Do you think you can win this upcoming election?
No, the reality, my message is consistent. I'm sorry you feel that it is not consistent. My message is consistent. Why? Why do my message consistent? Right now, the people are dire poverty. We have a failed education system. Nothing works for the Liberian people. Like Dr. Taranka said, the people are emotional. They are testing different ways of selecting their leaders, right? What was the term used? Oh, Ellen Johnson was put by the Americans. She was put there by the United Nations. Because they felt, how did she get elected? She was a woman. How dare her get elected? Amongst all the men that were elected in this country, why woman now? They felt that Ware won that election and Ellen didn't really win that election. But unfortunately, Ellen was in there for 2 terms. She did her thing. She moved our country. So irrespective of all the notions that were put out there, she ran this country successfully for 12 years. Now, yes, that still exists. Those ideas still exist. People are not sure who's the best person for this country. Today, I'm telling you what I hear when I go around the country, when I even talk to some international. This is what we all discuss in these meetings. This is how the people are going in, and the tides could turn. You never know. Whoever thought a person like George Ware would ever be president in this country, amongst the history of presidents in this country? It happened. You had a similar situation with presidents in the United States. Do you ever think someone like Trump, the disruptor, was ever going to be a president? Politics can change in 24 hours. Politics can change in 24 hours. People can change their minds. And so I'm telling you what's happening today. Tomorrow, 24 hours later, people could change their minds. You will see we have 5 months to the election. There are a lot of things that's going to happen over the next few weeks. A lot of things are going to happen. So what I'm saying today, based on what I'm experiencing on the ground. And so my message is consistent, but I have to remain consistent.
Thank you very much.
We want Leo today. Tomorrow say, oh, Dr. Frank, you guys are talking your show. Some days you're more popular. Some days Dr. Frank is not so popular because of the questions she asked. And sometimes he's more popular. So things change it.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you. Let's go to Al Hassan. Al Hassan, very quick, Leo. Sorry, we press on time, please. Al Hassan.
Madam Cooper, I must admit, I'm a fan. I mean, I like your style. You are bold and you call it as it is. I mean, I like that. I think you got one fan. Oh yeah. One question. You ran on 3 pillows the last time. We called it the 5-star pillow. One of those pillows, the last one that caught my attention was the one on land ownership. You said something that you will advance self-governance and legal recognition of customary right for indigenous groups. Can you explain that? What does that mean? What are you trying to achieve?
During the time when those 5-star platforms, we were still going through the Land Rights Act. It had not been passed because women didn't have rights to their land. They had there was this law around prevention of women owning property. Of course, the Constitution. If you read the Constitution, the only place it talks about women in the Constitution is when it talks about sharing of property. When there's a separation or divorce or annulment of the relationship, it just limits women in so many ways. But today, the Land Rights Act has been passed. We had NGOs that came and funded that. And so during the time of the 2017 election, the Land Rights Act had not passed, right? So we were fighting to make sure women could own their property, right? And individuals, there would be laws because people are killing each other after the war. So that's my land, that's your land. And there was nothing being done about it. So there was a lot to do. But now we have an NGO that came in and helped us pass the Land Rights Act. And so that's not a major problem in this election. So in this election, what is still a problem is housing, is education, is the economy, is jobs, is justice. Because our judiciary system is not being funded. Circuit courts across the country cannot handle the cases that's being brought to them. Police officers are not being paid. Law enforcement officers are not being paid. Drugs are coming through our country. Illegal drugs are killing our young people. You have prominent children from homes that are stuck out on drugs. Dependency on substances, alcoholism is rampant across the country because our borders are not. And so what am I looking at in this election? I'm looking at law and order. Law and order. We have to pay our law enforcement officers, give them respect and dignity, invest in our judiciary system. The House of Representatives, House of Legislature, if you saw it from the letter, it has become a den of criminals. There's still a lot of good people in the House. You have 73 lawmakers and 30 senators. There's some good people in there that are fighting, but they're not enough. They're not enough. And so in this election, I'm not looking at Land Rights Act. I'm looking at law and order. How we can strengthen our judiciary system. Because criminals are getting away with crime on a daily basis. They're ripping our children because they're protected by the Constitution or the service they're rendering to our House of Representatives, our upper house. They're taking matters into their hands and getting away with impunity. And we got to stop that. Otherwise, we're destroying our young people's future. A young girl gets raped, she has no future. We don't have psychotherapists here in Liberia. If we do, we have very few that the masses cannot afford. So there's new problems that we're looking at in this election. And we're talking to the full country to know what is really the problem they want to solve.
Madam Cooper, thank you very much. Please allow us, if we can, to go to the phone line. It's 10:20 in Liberia, 6:20 here. We got about 10 more minutes to go. We want to say thank you a lot. We'll be able to go to the phone line while you have her on the phone.
Yes, we can.
All right. I'm sorry. Listen, when you were speaking, Prince Johnson Corbin, he want to comment and he want to ask you a question, Madam Cooper. So he will be our first.
Johnson, which one? You got to clarify which one. There are two Prince Johnson.
You are correct. Prince Senator
Prince Johnson from Nema County.
Now I'm speaking of the Senator Prince Yedu Johnson, not Prince C. Johnson. So Senator Johnson.
Hello, Stanton, and hello to the Spoon family.
Hello, you are live. Madam Cooper is listening to you.
Yes, I called earlier, and I must say thanks to you for calling me back. Madam MacDella Cooper said, if worker picks corn, people should begin to pack the bags because he supported CDC in 2017. I think she needs to be corrected. The correction is 2011, when Madam Sali was running, I was running too again, Madam Sali, for the highest office. And Cole was with us in the party. But democratically, he has the freedom of choice. So he supported Madam Sali at that time and became the campaign manager for Unity Party in Nimba. For our party, he was with UP. So 2017, he still remained with UP and still became a campaign manager for Omen Joseph Boyka of the Unity Party in Nimba against the CDC that I supported. That's the correction I want to make. He's not with CDC. No.
Thank you, Senator Prince Johnson.
This is the reason why, yes, he's not with CDC.
Let's give Madam Cooper the chance to respond to you. Can you hang on 1 minute, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Madam Cooper, please.
I just want to correct her, that's all.
All right.
No, the Babe said, the guy who gave us opinion, I don't think we all the nation. We have, respect Babe, the Babe call. His opinion, I still stand with my opinion. It's not not corrected. It's my opinion. Babe, I respect you, you know that, and I take care with you. But I also have the right to opinion.
Madam Cooper, you know you're my daughter. I got respect for you. I believe in you, and I believe in what you want to do for this country. The truth here is that, you know, George Weah's foster brother is Jeremiah Cohn. But George Weah was disappointed that Jeremiah Cohn did not support him in 2017. He got pissed off. So after the election, he brought that to my attention, and I had to take Jeremiah Cohn to meet with him at his house to, you know, to harmonize this issue, to face between them. And that is how they became friends. But when it comes to the party level, Cohn is a die-hard Unity Party. Because you see, the Unity Party and the Liberty, and the Liberia Action Party, they emerged. The Liberia Action Party was one headed by our father, Jassy Ebdo. So the Nema people preferred that party, and so Mr. Cohn decided to go there. I couldn't stop him. I couldn't say to him, look, you're a member of the MDR, why are you going that way? He got a freedom of choice. I allowed that to happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Senator.
Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
So, Jeremiah Cohn is public here. So, help the people.
What's happening, Dama? We lost her?
I have to
reconnect.
Nah, I have to resubscribe to this prestige package on Lone Star. So let me.
Beautiful. I like why you put it. Just say you have to pay some money and get your stuff. But
yeah, yeah, but it get reimbursed me. I can't allow so fast. Not nothing for you. I don't so far. Yeah.
I understand. Make it happen. But Honorable Prince Johnson, we just got to get back to Madam Cooper. But you can go ahead, make your point. till we can reconnect with Madam Cooper?
No, I made that point already. I said that Mr. Kuhn or Senator Kuhn is a foster brother of Mr. Weir. Mr. Weir himself told me, but he was greatly disappointed that Mr. Kuhn did not support him in 2011 and 2017. So I had to, after the 2017 election, during which time Mr. Kuhn voted for Mr. Boyka and became the campaign manager of the Unity Party in Nimba, and I supported Mr. Weir. I had to take Mr. Kuhn to President Weir's house to face between them to settle their issue. And so Kuhn is not a die-hard CDC, but rather a Unity Party.
Thank you very much. Well, man, before we let you go, we're still trying to connect with Madam Cooper. How's your, Friday, the 28th? What's your plan for Friday? Do you have any plan for Friday?
Well, first thing, I'm leaving for Nimba tomorrow to register and get back on Thursday morning. And we are gearing up people from Nimba, Bapulu, Bombing, Cape Mount, and other places in 17 districts in Maserado. All Nimbanians, MDRs, diehard supporters, those motorcycle riders, Pempen boy, that is, Yena boys, market women, those whose salaries were dancers and called it harmonization, those downtrodden, impoverished Liberians will all turn out because it's the beginning of the dawn of a new day. So the place will be overcrowded. Want to lock the city up.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Senator Prince Yedu Johnson. Oh, hold on 1 minute, she's back. Go ahead, Diamond.
Okay, Diamond, thank you. We're reversing.
Madam Cooper is back on the line.
The senator is here.
Yeah, Madara, how are you? Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So what I was suggesting to you before the land drop is that it's important that Jeremiah Kuhn goes on the public stage and denounce any support getting from George Weah to be the vice president of Bukai. It will be very helpful. It will be very, very helpful. A candidacy for the vice president. That would be my suggestion.
Did you hear what she said?
No,
she said it would be important for Jeremiah Kuhn to go on national radio, on national talk show like the Spoon Talk, to denounce his support or deny that he have ever served, worship, or contributed anything to George Weah.
It's very important because you don't trust him right now. The thing is in bed with George Weah. And people
Senator Kuhn has never ever supported President Weah, and it just came from you. I just heard that from you today. So Senator Kuhn doesn't.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to Madam Cooper. We're going to call Senator Kuhn. We pray that he pick up because this is very important, that he got to speak to the Liberian people, that he never, and he will never, and he's not a CDC disguise. Because we don't know who JMB going to pick. We got Yombly Kanga Lawrence, we got Alexander Cummings, and we got Jeremiah Kuhn. So these things got to be made. This is what they do in America. So we're going to call Jeremiah Kuhn and probably want a statement from him. And thank you very much for bringing that up, Madam Cooper. Senator Prince Yedu Johnson, I will talk to you later tonight, sir. Thank you.
Okay, please call me. I think he's standing by to answer you.
I will. Thanks. All right, Madam Cooper. Let's go to the phone line. We got but limited time if we shoot. Dama?
Yes, sir. So let's go to the phone lines to take local calls here. The numbers to call 0777 771075 0555 101075. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. Let's hear you out, please.
There's a global empire from Jakarta.
Go ahead.
What Madam Cooper say about Jeremiah? I think you already did my part. Like we saw and tell the Liberian people Actually, Master Ali down for Jeremiah to be in devil, President Weir. And would not let them meet President Weir. And what all that I'm going to say tonight, and my friend, the Sinagogue, Sullivan, who been thinking it. The truth today would help the need of Congo. Congo people, now President we say what I we say there we are, we start to be like a Congo next. We never do God the city that in that draw a heart, in that city a heart, in making want to see hunger, no job, no education, no hospital, no nothing. We deal with we are. Then you go where immigrant, they told him about to live in a mountain in Abidjan, let them go and leave the country. We not want to suffer.
All right,
so let them go to that and tell the other people, I tell you, I'm no longer citizen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diamond, could you please hold on? Dr. Taranka just said that she had to leave. I just want the Liberian people to know that she had a prior engagement. But thank you for joining us, Dr. Taranka. We hope that you join us again.
Okay. Hello. Okay, lost that person there. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Fine, sir. Let's hear you out, please.
My name is Benjamin. I come from Kower.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Senator, it's good to hear of us again. My brother, everything that the ambassador says is true. This is what we are going through in the country. And I want you guys on the ground, journalists, to do your survey. There is something going on right now. The same government are going from ghetto to ghetto. Those same ghetto here who are sending bad substance to our children, giving them money to help them. You will recruit those same children to vote for them. So to tell you that the government knows who are selling trust in this country. The government won't kill everybody in this country. It will not do something like Brempo. If people win this election in this country, if like Brempo say that in Nigeria we will be president again, some of us will open our own ghetto too. I think that will be the best thing for the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Hello. Yeah, let's hear you out, please. Hello, you live. Go ahead, please.
Am I on phone?
You are.
Okay, my name is Honorable Yeke Kalaba. I come from All Road.
Okay, Honorable, let's hear you out.
Okay, look, let me first appreciate you people on the show. And I caught this thing from the statement made by MacDella Cooper, the Senate Bureau. That was not the plan. Our plan was to bring the political leader together in one room so they could talk. But I feel that she has taken side. And let me distance myself. Let me say this clear. I'm not going to get involved with any opposition again because I don't want to be caught up in anything. The written words will bring me people together. We met on the comments. On the comments said he was going to be available on Wednesday. We drove to Bomika, met with Omobuakai. Omobuakai, when he came to town, he was going to come in today or tomorrow. So we could schedule for us to meet. But when Manakopa taking Sana to say the Lebronpo one on Bopaka, it was not the arrangement. The arrangement was to bring. We talk to them. I'm not going to say what on the comments told me or what on the comment to us. I'm not going to say what on Bopaka told us. But the arrangement was to bring them in one room. Either from our office or from MacDella Cooper's office. Not to come to place, not to Bopaka's place. I distance myself from any negotiation now because I don't want to be caught up in anything. I have tried my best and I can't make it anymore. I'm not going to get involved with any negotiation anymore. Let the people decide on what they want to do. Then the people will decide. I distance myself from this statement made by her because she has taken side and I feel very discouraged for us people for bringing the opposition together. And she then saying, nobody want to vote for Congo. Congo people are Liberian people. I don't get involved with this kind of politics. I respect her as a political leader, but to get involved with any dialogue, I'm not going to get involved with it anymore. My hand is clean, my hand is out. When comments call me, I will go to his program. When my banker call me, I will go to his program. I'm in the opposition, and I'm an independent opposition. So
thank you.
I'm not going to do anything anymore.
Thank you very much.
I'm not going to bullshit anymore. What want to happen that the people will decide. Let me say thank you and God bless everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dama. There's no more call. We want to say thanks because the CEO of Madam Titi Kana, she texted me. She said, "You guys, we have to be on the time." I asked her, "Not of 5 minutes, guys." We'll be having Clarence Mulba on shore. He's a different president. Wednesday, we'll be having the chairman of Unity Party, Roman Tappet. And again, I spoke to Jeremiah Holmes. I was going to say, he's in a meeting. He will address this issue. What was discussed by MacDella Cooper?
You sound very low.
Your audio is doing the same thing
I
again.
sound very low.
Your audio is doing that same thing again.
My audio is doing the same thing. I know that Fadiga won't make all of the show. So Fadiga do this. Is it better?
Are we having diaspora calls?
All right, guys, have a wonderful show. But I said no more calls. Titi said we got to go. You guys can do your closing. I'm out. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Good day. Are you able to take calls from the diaspora? Or we're not doing any more calls? I wasn't following.
No, it's in your hand. You decide.
Do we still have Madam Cooper on the line to make her closing comments? No. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I was doing something else. All right.
Yeah, we still do. She's still on the line.
Okay. Can you please ask her to please make her closing comments, please, and then we'll.
I'm not taking calls again.
Oh, okay.
It'd be great. I'm Madam Cooper close because she's on the phone.
Yeah.
The callers. Maybe she will have response.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. They just do about 3 calls.
Yeah, your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Harish Colley, and I'm calling from the US. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Make your
I
point.
just want to make some point, James. Until Liberia can start holding people accountable for what they do in the government, we're going to be in the same old things day by day, like what Mr. Fadi was saying. Because you will get someone do something in the country, a government official, he will say that, oh, you know who I am? You know who is this? So every day we experience the same thing. The U.S. ambassador was very, very right when he said all these things. But you know what I want to say is this. The U.S. ambassador will not go and take Jokia and put him there or take the president and sanction him. Till the Liberian people can come up to rush up to what the government is doing. The U.S. government have played their part. So it left with the Liberian people to do what they can do. So thank you for
all right, thank you.
Okay, another one, and then another one, and then I want to welcome.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the next caller.
Back on to the show. Thank you for joining us. It looks like you're in transit there, but let's get the phone calls, and you can join us now in the closing.
Yeah, I'm coming. Let me get this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Your name and where you calling from?
Hello.
What's your name and where you calling from?
Hello.
What is your name and where you calling from?
Hello.
All right. Call back, sir. I think we can.
Yeah, we can move to closing.
Yeah, we can move to closing.
Thank you. Good day. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Madam Cooper, if you're on the line, could you please do your closing comments, and then we can have the rest of the panelists do their closing comments. And thank you for joining us today. Always appreciate you when you come on the show. You bring a different perspective.
It was my pleasure, Dr. Francine. It's always good to be here with you guys. And you heard it, people call. Look, yes, my brother Yeke, he's not happy. I'll call him. We'll sort things out. He's a strong man. He's doing good for our district. And, you know, he's someone who I appreciate his strength in the opposition bloc. I know he's a little upset, but I really didn't take sides. I think it was very clear. I spoke the truth, and the truth was I didn't take sides. I'm just speaking in reality here. But here's the thing I would say. Liberia and Liberian people, they know what's this is we have a difficult task ahead of us. I do hope the opposition will, as I said, I'm not going to repeat the exact words. I hope the opposition will come together and let's do good to rescue our country. That is my interest, and that's what I'm sticking with. So it's always a pleasure to come here with you guys. I look forward to a future conversation, and And let's continue to do good for Liberia. Thank you for the platform.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You were just listening to Madam MacDella Cooper here today on the show. We're going to move on to our closing comments. We will start. Who came in first? Leo, you came in first. Did you want to say something, Mr. Falcon?
Yes, I think I'm in transit. And
My man, you came late to class. You gotta wait. You get punishment.
Yeah, let me get in punishment after I say what I will see. But I don't know if you all can hear me.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Thank you very much. Let me say thanks to all of the people that made a contribution. The doc that was on, as well as MacDella Cooper, Madam MacDella Cooper, and the others. I think I myself said yesterday that if Honorable Bwaka chooses the wrong person, I myself will have a second thought. But I think I said the wrong person. But I think tonight, Madam MacDella Cooper was too targeted and specific at individuals, and especially Jeremiah Coon. And the reason why I say so is because after she presented the tale to the Liberian people, she received massive correction from Senator Prince Johnson that she could not refute. And the facts are written because I myself participated in the 2017 election. And if everything remains true as I know it to be without challenge, that Jeremiah Coon was a campaign manager for the Unity Party, JMB and Elling in 2011. And in 2017, as you see Jim shaking his head, when his party moved to support the CDC, including MacDella Cooper, who supported the CDC, this young man said, no, I will remain loyal to my party, I will remain loyal to my people, and he stayed the course. The fact that MacDella Cooper could muster the courage to ask this man to come and clarify, I think she needs to apologize. In the political arena, when you lie on people blatantly by saying that this individual is in bed with George Weah, knowing fully well he's not, you provided misinformation. And this misinformation you provided, you received the correction without even able to argue. I think rather than asking him to come forward, you just should have said, okay, I'm sorry. But if you're talking about the current day affairs, that because as a senator, somehow, then you provide your proof. Having said that, to come to the nation where Liberians are listening and say that this man is in bed with George Weah, it can have several interpretations, especially for the people you claim when Leo was pressing her that are not educated. What do you think they took her statement to mean that when she said he's in bed? As educated people, we would mean that he's in line with George Weah and his policies. But the other people could think he's lying in bed with George Weah. Who knows? Having said that, it is only fair, Madam Moderator, if she press against Mr. Coon. Of course, I don't know who Ambassador Bwaka is going to choose. But if you say that this man is in bed with George Weah, then Liberian people will be tempted. You who had kids for him, what are you into? Are you on the mat? Because there is no way you will have a bad relationship with President Weah. You have kids together, you talk together, you take gifts from him, you take monies from him, you meet with him. You guys are the real ones that the Liberian people will accuse of being in bed. I will conclude by saying we are one opposition, whether it be the attack on Cummins, the attack on Coon, the attack on Yombly, an attack on one now. We have reached the point, it's an attack on all. And I think MacDella Cooper needs to withdraw her statement, apologize to Jeremiah Coon. Whether or not he's picked or not picked is not necessary, and we don't care at this point. An attack on any member of the opposition, including her, is an attack on all. And her statements tonight were unprecedented and needs to be thrown away. And I call on her as a fellow politician to apologize to the brother to never make that mistake, whether it be Cummins, Yombly, or any other person. An attack on that person, in my view, is unacceptable. And if she continues that, it will be met with stiff resistance. I respectfully submit.
Thank you, Honorable Falcon. We miss having you here today for the full show, but I'm glad that you were able to make it in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We definitely just see you tomorrow. I hope that you have the chance to stay as much as you can until your flight is ready. So I'm gonna go to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Richardson. It's confusing and baffling at the same time. First of all, I'm very disturbed by Madam MacDella Cooper coming here and throwing aspersions on almost everyone. I'm even further disturbed for us to be here and allowing Madam MacDella Cooper to be talking about Congo versus Native and who has which last name at this time in our body politics. It is very disturbing. I don't think anybody should be discriminated against in Liberia based on their last names. And if that is where our people are, the best people that should be dispelling and correcting that should be our political leaders who can start to correct that. Nobody should cast aspersions on Native people because of George Weah's reputation. No one should cast aspirations on Congo people also because of other people in the past. As far as I'm concerned, Congo is not a tribe in Liberia. That is a term that was used way back that has become almost irrelevant because of how diluted our population has become. The second piece I will say, for her to also tell us that she with the people on the ground and they're connecting very well, but you don't seem to be a serious candidate even among the top 10 in the country, is also disturbing. And the last thing I will say to what Honorable Fagon was just alluding to, what's confusing is all of these people 1 week or how many days away from JMB picking his VP running mate, they're still having this confusion. And all of these people are these people who misled us in 2017. These are the people who told us that George Weah was the almighty savior that God has ordained and sent to save us. These were the same people who insulted Joseph Boakai, called him a tribalistic old good-for-nothing man. These were the same people who called him that he was not even fit to lead because he was too old and he had been in a government and for so long and had done nothing. These are the same people who coming out to tell us that they are waiting to see if Joseph Boakai will pick the wrong person or the right person. Come on. I thought we're not voting for vice president again. We're only voting for the president. Just a week ago on the same show. So you're waiting for whether Joseph Boakai will pick the right or the wrong person. That means you're telling me you don't trust Joseph Boakai's judgment. If you cannot trust VP Boakai's judgment to pick the right VP candidate, then how come you're making noise about him to us by this time? Let me just say this to everybody. Like it or not, I kept saying it. I'm so grateful that someone like Alexander Cummings can choose to run by himself. And someone like VP Boakai can also choose to run by himself. I think they should run by themselves because the future of our country cannot be based on just winning an election to get an ungovernable system in place where all of the arrogant people in Boakai's camp and all of the arrogant people in Cummings' camp can all get together to tear the government apart, and then the vice president can't be fighting the president camp when they're supposed to be worried about governing. I am yet to see the coalition plan that will bring the two people together to make them lead Liberia. In the absence of that, it is good wishes. And what the ambassador did today was to give an opening to the opposition side to really start talking about the things that matter. Then those who don't let Cummings, they think Cummings not qualified to be president, and those who don't let Boakai and Boakai not qualified to be president. We care less. We want to see the opposition harping on what matters. And it was great to see Honorable Cummings reply in less than 3 hours after the statement came out. I'm waiting to see VP Boakai also respond to that statement in the strongest way possible. If MacDella really want to talk something serious, let her stop casting aspersions on other people and respond to that statement and take it on. And if she feels she's not going to win an election or she's not capable of winning an election, let her stop playing with us. To conclude, I'm begging everybody, please, let's stop asking questions about who the right VP is. The right VP is the competent person. Anybody who picks a VP based on tribalism, you've already shown us you're not capable of making decisions as a president. Anybody who picks a VP only in desperation, that because that person can only make them win, even though the person is not qualified. When you pick your VP, we will vet them on this show. When you pick your VP, we would like to hear you say the competence that you rely on. The legislature has been labeled as one of the most corrupt institutions, if not the most corrupt. The U.S. ambassador just reinforced that today. So I'm waiting to see the people who will be picking their running mate from the same legislature that is the most corrupt, if not the corrupt. Because if you say the people who made our institution have led it to what it's been, and for the people who they're advocating, like Senators DeLone and the rest of them, I appeal to you, you're taking one step further. You call public hearings. Y'all one can be standing on Capitol Hill talking, nobody hearing y'all. You're getting the communities, call public hearings. You're write reports. You publish those reports. You're sharing with the citizens. You're sharing with our embassies. Crying on Capitol Building alone or on Capitol Hill alone is not enough. You start to document it. You see the American ambassador today release a statement that is trending everywhere, everybody reading it. Can you imagine? I wish Senator Dillon and other senators and legislators who are doing this thing, you start releasing your own letters too, your own reports too, you start releasing it so that you can be exposing the thing that you know inside secretly that we not know also, instead of just saying it, because when you say it, it's not on the record, and tomorrow you can say that's not why you bent. Put it on the record. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Fadiga.
Well, thank you. I'm one of those that believe that we don't live in a perfect world. Sometimes I think we like to hear our own voices. Sometimes we like to hear what we want to hear. But the reality on the ground doesn't jab. Even in this great United States of America that we live in, I've come to realize that none of the people that say that they want to be in politics, including the Alex Comey, none of them are sent. The standard, the hypocrisy with Liberian politics is what that gets to me. We are very hypocritical when it comes to our politics. We only want something because this person will support one that thing. If that person don't want it, the same thing that we stand for today, we'll flip it around. So everything that we say, look, the Liberian people are telling us, look, I agree with Madam Cooper on some of the things. I disagree with. I don't like the Native Congo divide. There are certain things that people don't want to talk about in Liberia. I have been discriminated because of my name. My own colleague here, when we're in the heat of the politics, called me Senegalese once. I have been experiencing marginalization because of my name for years. I gave you guys a story of my little brother that could not get his passport in Liberia because of his name. His voter registration card was seized from him. And this is the only country that I know, born, raised, went to high school. I even went to college. Geo student before I left from Liberia. I've never known any other country. That's the hard truth that people don't want to talk about. So the Native Congo River, in as much as it is something that we don't want to hear, it is real. It is real. These are things that are happening. The beginning of solving that problem starts with all being truthful to ourselves and accepting that this is the problem we have on the ground and then addressing it from that point. By shying away from it, not talking and listening to what we want to hear, it's just something. The second thing, even if we have to win election, I don't know of any human being that will come and join a election, spend millions of dollars to run an election just to lose. I don't know. I don't even understand that even in the great United States, people run for presidency or for office to win. It's a win thing. You cannot have any impact if you do not have a seat on the table, if you don't win. The first thing is getting elected. It got nothing to do with moral. We can talk about principle here and there. That doesn't take away from your principle. We all have principle. You can, if you want to talk about principle, you cannot have principle on one thing and then change it when it comes to another thing. You have to carry all the way through. And the reality here is one single individual going to Liberia in a minefield of politicians that have been there for years, all of whom have some history. Except when you say you're going to be the only person in the country running as president and nobody else you're going to work with. Because anybody you affiliate with, one or two of those people have a history that is so damaging that you will not have to work with them. We've seen people that come and talk. So these things are not, right now, the state of it, we saw a report that came from the United States Embassy, a very damaging report that says a lot about government that do not even have no check and balances. The president is, look, this reminds me of the Taylor era. Even Taylor said has some check and balance. This government has a complete laissez-faire. In fact, the president is completely running this country oppositionless. Where in the history of Liberia, you see one president leave from the country for the 8 days, go and have fun, say that enjoy and say, why are the people suffering? For the 8 days, when on some handsome boss came back in the country with nothing. When Ellen left on her trip, she brought something back. Nobody said anything. This man, $1 billion company, all the different things that went on in the country, nobody said, you see, you ready to call me on now? You're ready to call me on now.
I was just quiet. I was quiet. I'm not doing it intentionally, but I just live.
I'm coming. I
beg you.
Well, let me say this. The problem here is we are very hypocritical. Every side, I'm just fed up with our Liberian stand up that we got stand up for one thing. Look, let me tell you something. Nobody know who is the right person for Liberia. We can all wish that this person will be the best person. We can all hope that it will be the best president for Liberia. But to believe that this person was ordained by God, if it's not them, so the country to burn. Right now, we got a country to rescue. We got an opposition to unite. If you say that, oh, if it's not your guy that God sent down from heaven, so that means the country to burn, you don't care about that country. You don't even belong to be discussing Liberian politics. And this is why we are faced with a lot of people. When I say, oh, let it go, MacDella Cooper, she said something, but she said a lot of things that is very true to our politics.
Thank you.
And there's a wind blowing right now in Liberia. If you listen, you will hear it. There's a wind. I don't know what will happen in the next few days, but I can feel it that there's some wind blowing in Liberia. If we pay attention and do the right thing, we'll remove this government. If we stay there and keep being stubborn and keep arguing over things that we all don't even have anything that we disagree with, we will lose.
Thank you very much, Fariga. So again, I want to just thank you, Liberians, for tuning in. It was a spirited and interactive show. This is your station. This is the place where you come to get the news, and we provide you different perspectives on trending issues in Liberia. So thank you, Liberians, for tuning in. I want to tell all of the callers that call in tonight, thank you for being a part of the conversation. And also the panelists, I'm always thankful when you guys can come on. We start our conversation sometimes 5, 6 o'clock in the morning in the background and continue it on. That is a sign of dedication to Liberia. So thank you so much. I want to say that in as much as I respect MacDella Cooper very much for being in a space that is dominated by men, and to some degree I can relate to that, I would like to call on her to apologize for some of the divisive comments that she made today. Liberia at this point, with all of our complexity, the last thing that we need is to have our leaders, especially our female leaders, who I believe have a strong sense of uniting us, call for Conga and country, and that Liberian people are interested in a country leader at this point than a Conga leader. We don't know, like someone said, Mr. Cummings has never identified himself as a Conga man. He is Gribble from Maryland. And, to be, peddling that information right now is concerning to me. Secondly, I would tell you that some people might stand by opposition unity. I think that Liberia like the easy way out, and many of those people who are advocating for this opposition unity, what they are telling us, let's continue to elect the old establishment, the establishment that was just recently condemned by the United States government, to put them in power so they can blindfold us to continue doing what they are doing, using the Liberian people. I'm not interested in just removing George Weah for the sake of removing him. I'm interested in removing him to replace him by someone competent, creative, and who can communicate with Liberians. Like someone said, Mr. Cummings has just fired out his response to the American government letter. That's communication. And I want this person who can communicate with Liberian people in a way that is not like the old establishment. We are here saying that, we should have this opposition unity. Where is the opposition unity when we need them to stand at the registration center to make sure that all Liberians register? Where are they? They're not talking about that. They only come around when it's elections time. Where is the opposition unity when election is October 10th, that they have plans to have people washing the pool to make sure that we in opposition get elected? Where are they? Where's the plan? Why they are not coming here to speak about that? They only come around again when they want to talk about having an establishment in order, making the easy way out for Liberians. Liberians, they're saying that you guys don't know how to decide for yourself. And I'm speaking to you. Liberians, the Americans have spoken to you. They have shown you step by step how this establishment, the cartel that I call them right now, have no interest in your healthcare, nor your education, nor the economy of Liberia, nor the future of our children. So listen well to me. Get your consciousness on. Go out and vote for someone who will be in the best interest of Liberia. Registration is in the second phase. You cannot participate in elections until you register. You know that. Get together, be a part of the elections to make your voice heard, and be conscientized as to what is happening around you. Get someone who has not been involved in the old establishment to run our country. Get someone who can communicate with you. Get someone who's creative. And you know the creation I'm talking about is in today's world. We got digital information. We just got to report that more than ever before, Liberians are using mobile money. All right. We want somebody who can understand how that impacts our economy. We want somebody who can understand how to use mobile money and use computers, cell phone, like the 65% of our young people are accustomed to using in our country. That's what I mean by trying to find someone who's competent and creative to solve Liberian problem. On that note, I want to tell you, thank you for joining us. I want to tell you that come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have Mr. Moniba, Clarence Moniba coming in.
Dr. Clarence Moniba.
Sorry, thank you for correcting me. Dr. Clarence Moniba is coming in as a candidate who's in the race, right? Fadika, he's in the race, right?
Yeah, he's running for president.
Yes, so he's running for president. He will be coming in to tell us more information about Liberia and how he plans to change the country. And then, of course, on Wednesday, I believe that we have the leader of the Unity Party, the chairperson, good day.
The chairman.
The chairman of the Unity Party will be here. Is it Tapet? Reverend Tapet, right? James?
Yeah, Reverend Tapet.
Reverend Tapet will be here. And then, of course, we'll bring you more information on Thursday and Friday for the upcoming speakers. Once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. Thank you so much for being a part. We hope to be here again tomorrow, and the team will bring you another good show. Until we meet, my name is James Samuel Goode Flomo.